Okay, everyone, welcome to Brad Chapman's Radical Vocal Coach. Should have practiced that. Well, you think I'd said it enough times by now. To our podcast, we're guest starring DreDeMost today. As I mentioned, I'm Brad Chapman, and I teach private vocal coaching. And the reason I call myself radical is because everybody I talk to says, well, nobody else is teaching that. Nobody else is having a podcast with producers and engineers, so there must be something different about you. So it's like, yeah, I'm radical. I'm out there. I'm not right in there with the crowd. All right, so Dre is a producer engineer out of Fresno, highly experienced at live shows. We're going to talk a lot about that today. 15 years he's been doing this. This has been his life, probably started before 15 years. Mentored by greats like, we all know Ma'at Hotep, Dave Hampton, Khaliq Glover. Glover is a Grammy awarded engineer. And he's, Dre here is very, very dedicated to what he's doing. And we've already been talking earlier, so we're going to get more and more into that. But that's all we could get on the bio here on Eventbrite. So if you guys want to reach him, you could go to @DreDeMost on Instagram and see what he's all about, which is also posted here on the Eventbrite if that's how you came into the show. So we'll get back to Zoom here. Let's see here. I don't have a producer, so I'm kind of running things here as well.
You gotta do it all.
I've got to do it all. No, poor guy. All right. Yeah, we have David with us today so far, and he's very cool. All right. So, Dre, if a singer wants you to produce them or record them, or if you hear somebody you think is kind of cool that you decided to produce, what kinds of things would you want them to bring to the studio with them as far as skill goes?
As far as skill goes, like if I can just like pick somebody and they have everything I already want.
Yeah, what are those things?
I'm real big on tone. I like different tones, right? I don't like somebody who sounds like everybody else. Also like studio knowledge, so they can like talk to me in studio terms, so I can get exactly what they want instead of sitting there with like a confused face and we go back and forth and hella edits and stuff like that.
Confused face, I like that one.
Man, somebody who's coachable. Somebody who's super coachable. I don't want nobody in there super big-headed, think they know everything and can't tell them anything. That's probably one of the most annoying things.
So, in other words, they should trust you.
And a budget.
Yeah, budget.
A budget for sure. Those are like the main things, though.
Well, the art is free, so to speak. It's what we create inside our minds. But of course, it shouldn't be free, but maybe it is. But the point is that it costs money to record.
And man, just forget recording. It costs money for everything after recording.
It's great that you brought that up because there was a PBS thing. Hi, Olga. Please mute your microphone. We're on FarPlay. Let's talk about that for a minute. We're on FarPlay on the audio section of this podcast. We're not on Zoom right now, the audio portion. And the reason is because FarPlay allows us to have better audio quality and we can speak over each other. So I don't have to yell at Dre if I want to be heard and he's talking. Like I don't want to interrupt him. He can just hear that I'm talking and then we have a normal conversation as if we were in the same room together, which is one of the great things about FarPlay. Yet we are online. We're not in the same building. We're online, so it's the 21st century, everyone. We love it. Hey, and there's a fellow named Joseph. Hey, Joseph. Thanks for muting yourself. Okay, so what I was going to say there is, so they were talking about a budget of one of Rihanna's songs. Okay, so they said 75 grand to do the recording, and they mentioned some of the cost of that, vocal producers, the actual studio, the engineers, so forth and so on, out-of-pocket stuff just for the actual, what you'd call in business, the overhead of creating the product. Then they said, but guess what? Now comes marketing. 1.5 million.
For sure. For sure.
It's like, whoa.
And I always tell people that. I be like, yeah, it's cool, but you got to think who your competition is. Like, are you really trying to take this serious? Or are you just doing it just because you want to hear yourself? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what some people do. They just hobbyists, and they just like to do stuff. They got stuff to say. Or, you know, I get a lot of people like that. But, bro, your competition, if you're trying to get on them charts, bro,
Whoa,
that's what you going against, bro. And that's like per record, bro. They putting up over 1 million in promo per record, and you got $20 for an Instagram ad.
Yep,
bro.
Just goes on, and you know, luckily, it is kind of other people's problems, but you networking with them is your problem. You convincing them that you are in demand.
For sure.
I mean, who's going to put $1 million? I don't care who you are. Who's going to put $1 million into something that's not in demand unless they are philanthropists and they don't care if the $1 million goes right down the black hole.
Yeah, or they need a tax write-off.
Yeah, well, you know, kind of same thing, right? You're going to lose that money, and yeah, if it's taxes, it's a little bit easier to justify. But so let's get back to that, though. So, you know, expect that, and that's. I like to tell the story of rags and riches, and I'm sure you'll support me on this, Dre. So, you're an artist, right? So, if you're an artist, you don't make money because you do what you want to do for yourself, and you don't really care whether it makes you money or not. I mean, that's the artist's way of thinking. Would you go along with that?
Yeah.
I mean, you also mentioned the hobbyist, but the artist is more serious, but it's still kind of the same mindset.
For sure.
That
they do it just for the art of it.
Yeah, we're doing this because we want to express ourselves. But so maybe we are waitresses, or we got a day gig, or you know we got a degree in college because we were smart enough to do that, and we got a nice day job. But nighttime and weekends, we're busting our butts on the art side, and we're getting out there and we're performing, and we are being heard, we're being seen, and then someone who has a budget. Welcome, Fiona. Please mute your audio until we go to the Q&A. I put that in the chat. I don't know if you guys can see that. Put it up before you can see it. Hopefully you can see that. Anyway, where was I? I needed a producer. You want to produce me, Dre? You with what money, Brad? Okay. Just talking about how expensive things are. So anyway, so then they are starting to create a demand. People say, I want to hear this artist. So they come to the clubs, or, you know, they tune in on YouTube or whatever, and they start to create a demand.
Sure.
And then someone who has money, whether it be a label, a so-called independent, a venture capitalist, an angel investor, whoever that has enough money to make you become public, make you a world-known name. That's very expensive. As we talked, for those of you who just joined, we talked a little bit about $75,000 for the record and $1.5 million for marketing. So, and I was telling a fellow who wanted to record one of my students, who says, he was an angel investor, so I want everyone in the world to hear this girl's voice. When I hit him with what it actually cost, changed his mind, which was too bad, you know, but yeah, he was like, really, all that much money in marketing? Well, how do you get to 1 million people? How do you get to 7 billion people? You know, you gotta pay the dues. So then that's the rags to riches.
Sure.
Yeah. So you were a waitress one moment, now you're on the big stages. It's very hard to find an in between. Would you agree with that, Dre?
Bro, it's almost impossible. Now, I can say it does kind of happen sometimes, very minimalistic though, but like you said, the rags to riches thing, bro, it's always somebody in the background with some money.
Yeah, and as we've heard through rumors, but you know, sometimes they think it's the mob, sometimes they think it's drug money, you know, maybe it is.
Could be.
But that's not the artist's problem, and he's not necessarily supporting that.
Yeah.
Because you can't just choose where your money comes from all the time. I mean, if you can, you know, cool. But there was that show about an artist out of the '60s who had who got caught the ear of a mafia guy. You know, and I mean, the singer was never a mafia guy, never really involved in that, but he knew who he was getting his money from and became very, very famous, and it worked out very, very well for everyone. But it never implied that the mob was like hurting anybody to get this money or whatever, right? So I like to say, and I'm sorry if I'm talking too much right now, Dre, but I like to say that, you know, not everybody in this industry is what you see in a movie.
For sure.
Not everybody in this industry dies from drugs.
At all.
I know a lot of very successful people in this industry that, I mean, maybe they got addicted, maybe they didn't, but they didn't die. You know, and maybe they had a shot of whiskey every day, but they didn't die. You know, they didn't have a horrible life.
Yeah.
But people get caught up and say, oh, well, you know, get in the music industry, you know, going to end up being a prostitute. You got to sleep your way to the top. And you got drugs, you know. That's movies, man.
That's movies, bro. That's movies for sure. People really be thinking it's like that. Like, I'm not going to lie. It could get janky when it comes to contracts and stuff like that. But as far as, you know, you got to go sell some ass to get them to the top. I mean, if you say that's movies, brother.
And movies are like The Voice or American Idol. They're trying to develop drama.
Yeah, the story.
And the competition.
Yep.
Try to get us as listeners, as watchers, all wound up. But that's not the reality. So don't think that that's the way this is working. Our podcast is not going to tell you that. I'm not going to get any sponsors from people who are talking about this fantasy stuff.
I don't got no super secret Illuminati type shit going on.
No, man. We're real people doing what we really love. And a lot of this about today is, like we talked about, what is reality and what should you get from a vocal coach? Maybe it won't be me, maybe it'll be just a friend. But what kind of information should you get? It's not from the movies, and it's not from The Voice. The Voice. And sometimes it's not even from the radio stations that we all love or Spotify that we get our stuff from. So let's get real. Find things that are real so that you can have fun succeeding and get somewhere in this industry. Because we've been doing this for years, and you may be just starting off. Maybe you're 15 years old. I don't know. Maybe you're 10. I have an 8-year-old student. She's wearing the headphones. She's singing on a mic. She knows exactly what's going on. She goes into your studio, Dre. She's going to be hip to you. She's going to say, hey, Dre, man, I need my vocals up. You're not going to drown me in that music. I don't know what you think you're doing.
I like that.
You know, or that music's too loud, man. Turn it down. And, do you ever play that game with singers where you're trying to get more beat out of them or something, so you turn up the kick on the bass drum?
Kick or the bass drum, turn the headphones up, anything.
Just try to get a feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a coaching method, really.
Yeah, for sure.
What techniques do you use besides that to promote feel in the studio?
So that's real big. Ma'at actually taught us a whole bunch of stuff. So we had like 7 female artists. Ooh, hold on, my mic tripping. Oh no.
What happened? I hear you.
Am I back? I'm back. All right, cool. So what we used to do, we had 7 female artists back in like 2014, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our whole thing was based on emotion. We didn't really care about pitch. We didn't care about any of that. We wanted to sell the show, right? That's why people go to live shows, right?
Right.
Yeah, to capture that emotion. So we used to do like little training situations. So we had a artist by the name of Haley, and anytime somebody walked in the room, we have her sing this one song that we wrote for her, and her thing was to sell it, to make them want to be like, take my money.
Yeah.
Right? Now, how you did that is how you did that, right? Whether it was a grandma, a kid, a dude, whoever, right? So that was one of like the little training situations we did. We always emphasized the, like, say we're going bar for bar recording, right?
Mm-hmm.
will be like, after they done, they always ask us, "Oh, was that a good take? Was that a good take? Was that a good take?" Our response was, "Did you feel it?"
Very good.
Right?
I love what you're saying. That's like, are we there yet?
Yeah, like,
Is that a good take? Is that a good take?
did you feel it? Don't ask me.
That's right.
I know if it's good or not, but I need you to start hearing what that sounds like. Also, we did like don't sing it, right? Right? These are the lyrics. We're sitting here. Talk to me. Let's have a conversation. You using those words. Help me feel that. Right? If this is a sad song and you talking to me in a happy voice, it ain't it. I need you to really get in there and really think about what this is, what's the scenario, and how to bring that to life. It's kind of like acting. That's just some of the stuff we did.
Yeah, I've worked a lot with Ma'at. He brings up there is a fine line though, I think, that's drawn between acting and artistry.
For sure.
And that is that acting, you're being a character, which is an art. I'm not saying that's not art, but when you are the songwriter, and or you are in the commercial, in the pop world, if you will, which is huge. I mean, that includes rap and pop. I mean, jazz and blues and country now. I mean, we got Post Malone and Beyonce doing country.
Country. I never really listened to country like that, but lately, bro, it's been something else. Country.
Well, it's changed a lot.
Yeah,
but what's interesting?
They got 808s.
Well, they're bringing rock and roll back to the top 40.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, a lot of their stuff sounds like stuff I was listening to in the 70s. Same kind of guitar styles. Matt's texting me. Hold on here a sec.
That's my guy.
He's trying to do me a favor here, so give me a second here.
Yeah, that's my
See what he's.
right there.
Oh, he is. He's going to be next. Not next. He's going to be in September.
Okay.
Folks are not able to find the Zoom link. Okay. All right. I'll put it in chat. So they should have been able to get that from Eventbrite. But if they're joining outside of that, that's the issue. Let me, everyone, just be patient with me a moment, please. You can talk while I'm doing this.
Mott, bro, he's the reason I'm a beast today.
Yeah.
What? And like you said, like you a radical vocal coach, bro. I don't mix by like the norm. You feel me?
Yep.
I do weird, crazy shit. I go against the grain when it comes to mixing. I ain't worried about these meters like that unless I'm looking at a VU. I still use that to the T. But anything else, bro, if it sound good, it sound good. Point blank period.
You know, that is a period. If it feels right, then it's done.
It's done.
All right. If that doesn't feel right, it ain't done.
It ain't done.
Let's see. I wonder if I can get Zoom link from here.
I got the Zoom. I just took it from the.
Would you put it up, please?
Yeah.
I've got so much stuff open right now. It's confusing. Poor Brad. Poor Brad is confused.
I got Brad, need a producer, man.
Let's see here.
Ready to push the buttons. Where's the chat at? There's the chat.
So just to review, everyone. There's the link. If you want to join Zoom, of course, how are you going to do that from here? They'd have to already be on, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Ma'at, I'm not sure
I'm
how to
text that to Mott right now.
Yeah, okay, he's just going to text you so you can help people. Ma'at is like the philanthropist of the teaching world.
Bro.
He just gives, he learns and learns and learns and gives and gives and gives, and we all just, we bow our heads to him, man.
Bro, one of the craziest things is he hooked us up with what's bruh's name? His name Dave too. But he used to teach at MI, right?
Oh, Dave Isaac.
Yeah, Dave Isaac. He had introduced me to Dave Isaac, and that's when I was, thinking like, should I go to school? Should I not go to school? That type of thing. And Dave Isaac was like, hey, bro, look, we're gonna bring you in, and I'm gonna show you some shit. So the first time we went to the studio with him, bro, he put up a Pro Tools session, bro, and it was Michael Jackson's fucking Pro Tools session. Blew my fucking mind, bro. Mm-hmm. It was crazy.
That's a good segue for, I want to show people on Melodyne. But I wanted to finish. So many things have happened. I've kind of lost the train of thought. So you were talking about feel and so forth. Yeah. So you all, when you come into the studio, don't think that the recording studio is a place to rehearse, unless that's what you're there for, which is doesn't happen often enough. You know, I would think it wouldn't be a bad idea if you were really, really green to this, but you said, okay, I'm going to do a demo or I'm going to do a record. Go into the studio a few times and just pay them just for that. Just get used to the environment.
Definitely got to get the feel, because like I always say, everybody's first time, bro. When you hear yourself on this mic, you're gonna trip out because you don't know how you actually sound to everybody else. Because in your head, you sound different.
That's right. And you sound, you know, and then you hear the combination of you in your head and the headphones, which is actually, again, the only person in the world that sounds like that.
For sure.
I mean, no, I don't hear that. What you're hearing right now is not exactly what I'm hearing, right? So, but what's important, I think, and I teach this way. All of my students are using FarPlay as their DAW, which means digital audio workstation, which is a very simple way. So we don't have to get all caught up in Logic and Pro Tools. They don't have to become engineers. But they learn just enough about recording to be able to talk to somebody like Dre and to know what it sounds like in the headphones when they walk in that studio. And also, it's very similar, and we're going to talk about this, Dre, don't let me forget. It's also very similar to really good stage monitors. You know, they're not exactly the same, or in-ear monitors, which are still a little bit different because some people complain that they cut out too much of the outside world, but you have to get used to it.
Yeah, you got to get used to it, for sure.
But yeah, so this is the kind of thing to be ready for working with something like Dre, and you know, talk about budgets. You don't want to go in there and spend a lot of money and get nothing out of it. You want to go in there and spend some money that you've either got a great demo or at least something that's presentable on YouTube or whatever. But myth busting just for a moment, YouTube is not the way to make it. There is a lot of money that is spent on people who go viral, as a rule. And
you know, they just don't see that back end. Like you said, bro, all they see is somebody post something and then it goes and they're like, oh, bro, if I do the same thing, it's going to be good. I got to use these hashtags and all this stuff. It's funny because the dude on TikTok, I think it was TikTok or Instagram, maybe Instagram, he was like, bro, hashtags don't even do nothing.
Right.
They don't get you in the algorithm any better than anything else, bro. Money does.
Yeah.
Money for sure does.
Well, it costs money to advertise. You know, there's no industry in the world that thinks it could just put a new piece of gum on the shelf and have it sell.
Now, mind you, there is like a few instances where luck plays a part of it, I guess you could say. But, hey, man, you might as well go play the lottery, brother.
That's what I tell people. Did I say that already to you? Did you copy me?
I copied you. I got that from you.
I'm flattered. But, so we're going to play, I'm going to play a couple of things on Melodyne. Let me share the screen with Zoom so that you can see what I'm doing. Because these are things I've been able to hear for years, but I haven't been able to show people. And this is really great because you don't have to gain my ear or my experience to be able to hear this. You can see it now. And this is just incredible stuff. The 21st century is bringing us incredible stuff. I was able to use the stem splitter, so I was able to get this vocal right off of the recording so that I could just see the vocal only without having to worry about getting a lot of other stuff in here that would make no sense. So this is a recording I play for everybody. This is a woman, her name is Catherine Jenkins. I don't want to say too much right now. So just listen, and if this is too loud for anybody or anybody, throw me a chat, and I'll try to keep my eye on that. But just listen to this.
For your time waiting for that second chance, for a break that would make it okay. There's always one reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. And each need some distraction. Oh, beautiful release. Memory seeps from my veins. Let me be empty, oh, weightless, and maybe I'll find some peace tonight.
Okay, now I know y'all can't talk right now because our audio is being broadcast through an app called Fireplay. And we're doing that because Dre and I can talk with each other and hear each other, not have to interrupt each other or yell at each other in order to be heard like you have to just on pure Zoom. But his reaction and my reaction, being more from a rhythm and blues background, rock background, and so forth, is that this is quite boring. And it's very interesting to take a look at it because it's too perfect. And there's a producer friend of Ma'at's and Dre's and mine, his name's Corey Jacobs. He was on podcast the other week, and he said, perfect ain't perfect. He says, so if you think this is what you should be doing in the studio, this is how you're going to sound. Bro, now, if you're...
I'm not to cut you off, but yeah. I'm still like, bro, how the hell is she on the grid like that?
Years and years of banging away at the piano.
That shit's crazy.
You see, this is what we call piano pitch. This is A440. I mean, you know, this is the standard of classical music. This is not the standard of guitars.
At all.
Yeah, it's not the standard of a lot of synthesizers now.
She like on the notes.
Yeah.
The notes, like there.
Now, she has a great following. I'm not saying she's a bad singer by any means. She's fantastic. Classical music to me is oranges, and everything else is where people use microphones is apples. So you got oranges, that's great. All the rules for oranges, that's right on. All the rules.
Kind of like a Disney type feel almost.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You could say that. Maybe Catherine's even done some stuff for Disney. Like say she's got. I mean, this song has well over 1 million views. So I'm not saying anything negative about any of this, but let's take a look at a couple of things here I'm going to point out. Okay, vibrato in classical music is very, very important, and they have very, very strict standards about how fast it should be. My mentor was always, should be 6 times a second, but he had a lot of classical background. So you see here how even this vibrato is, because the gray here is showing us amplitude and pitch. So this reverb is almost perfect on pitch. It goes a little bit over, a little bit sharp, a little bit flat. That's very common with vibrato. Classical people tend to be more on the sharp side, but this is their rules. Okay, you got to be. This is F4. It's got to be F4, and it's got to be right on with the vibrato and so forth and so on. And even at this, Catherine is more pop than I would say a lot of classical singers are. And some classical singers who are trained in the European style, they all sound like that. Yeah, beautiful voice. Definitely can hear it in a Disney movie. That's a chat came in. What I was saying is that this is beautiful for this area, and she should be very proud of this. And the only thing that I feel bad about being a coach is that I feel like she's being everybody else. She's being what other people want her to be, and not really being who she wants to be. And if you ever want to pull this up, there's a video where you see that the choreography has very much the same feeling to it, and her makeup artist, and her hairstylist, and so forth. It's like almost everybody's on that video, but who's Catherine?
For sure.
I don't know who Catherine is.
It's like super cookie cutter.
Yeah. And so Dre and I wouldn't buy this, and probably wouldn't even want to be too involved in the project. Now here's the other singer, who we're going to listen to here for a moment, that also sang the song, but she's a contemporary singer, and I'll let you listen first before I try to explain things. I do have this out on Instagram, but it's a little hard for you guys to understand because it's not in real time. And I may do a podcast where this is all I talk about, because this is not common knowledge, what I'm showing you here. It takes a little bit of assimilation, like, what are you talking about, Brad? But it is real. This is what people complain about when they hear things over auto-tuned, or they hear a blues vocalist that's been over melodined on pitch. This is also an editing software. Now, I'm not going to edit any of this. That's not what I'm here for. This is to show you what Dre is looking for, or most record producers, Quincy Jones would be looking for, even though Quincy did all kinds of different styles of music. But David Kahn, who's a very famous producer, would be looking for. Anyway, let's play this and just listen first.
There's some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. I need some distraction, a beautiful release. Memories seep from my veins. Let me be empty, weightless, and maybe I'll find some peace tonight.
Okay, so Dre, what's your reaction to that? Oh, he's singing already. We got Dre going here. What do you think?
Like, bro, just like overall, just like the emotional feel of it is like 100% better.
Yeah, and you know who she is. Of course, almost everybody knows who she is. This is Sarah McLachlan. She was a songwriter of this song, and you know exactly who she is. And I think contemporary music, if you will, is a very big word, especially nowadays, because there's just so many styles out there. But this is more in line with contemporary music. I think the audiences of today want to hear what someone has to say, not what someone coached them to say, but what someone actually has to say.
Sure.
Yeah, he agrees with that. All right, so now I'm just going to do something that'll be a little easier for you guys to see the difference here. There's also a difference in their intonation. So if you go in thinking you want to be Catherine, then your intonation is going to be quite different than if you go in thinking you want to be Sarah. Let me find this guy's real quick. Let's see, this is Catherine.
I'm still like amazed on how much on the grid.
Yeah, and now here you see Melodyne actually tells us. There's another one I wanted to pick. Unfortunately, this software doesn't do exactly what I want it to do, because I'm not an expert yet. Probably never will be, because I don't spend the kind of time you do, Dre, using this kind of software.
I got a homie named H-Bomb, and his Melodyne game is crazy.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and this, guys that are great at, and I you may be as well, Dre. We haven't really talked about this, but great Melodyne editors are great artists.
For sure.
They don't just turn the thing on and say, okay, put everything in pitch, put everything on rhythm. No, that's kill.
Tweak it.
Yeah, and some of you are getting paid a lot more than you used to.
For sure.
Getting points on great records and stuff like that. Did you ever meet Eric Rossi?
Eric Rossi?
Yeah, he's a friend of my Ma'at's and I's that was at some of our mentor sessions. He's really hot now. He's the kind of guy now is getting hard to get a hold of.
Hey, you know what I realized? There's a lot of Erics and Daves in the industry. I know a lot of Erics and Daves.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So, who? Yeah, I know. Go to Europe. You got more diverse names there. Like Ingeborg. Name one of my students in Switzerland. Anyway, okay, so let's take a look at just this one pitch of Catherine's. And you can see, like I was talking about, this space in between the gray is the pitch. In fact, you should see it pop up here. It says it's a G4. Okay, G4 on the piano is a G just above middle C. And you can also see here that Melodyne is telling us, this is extremely accurate software, that it is 0 cents. What does that mean? It's dead on pitch. That is a G4, period. And you see the vibrato is right straight in the middle of the line here and so forth. I mean, this is what I have some people, my singers may be doing an exercise, but I would never suggest they do it in a song because it just, and there are certain notes that should be right on, and they're usually what's called cadence notes. That means like the end of a sentence. If that note is right on, that's restful. That should be a restful note. That kind of says, okay, this is where I end. That's okay, you know, but all this other stuff, it gets very boring. And also there are sharp notes in some people's riffs, which I've noticed. I'm not going to try to show you that today. It's too much time to get involved in that. But it's pretty amazing. Now, we take the same note from, where is she? Let me pull that over. From Sarah. And I'm going to have to play it for just a moment. Hold on.
There's some reason to feel not good.
Yeah, I think that's it right there. Okay, so that's 18% flat. So it's minus 18 right here in the little window. Now, what's that for? That's to tell the engineer, well, okay, if you're going to move it and you want to put it on 0, then this will give us a gauge. But this is, I've seen a lot flatter notes than this that we all love. I mean, people like Aretha Franklin, Ariana Grande's pitch is amazingly on, but she creates her style differently. She doesn't do as much with the blues notes and things, but her rhythm, her affectations, rhythmic affectations, the way that she tells a story, that's what we get. But you see here, you look at some of these others. Sarah's quite flat here. And the other thing you notice about this is that there's a lot more artifacts. There's a lot more stuff going on here. Just go back to Catherine here for a moment. This is all much more predictable. You know, there's just stuff going on here, da, 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 but there's not a lot of, you know, Sarah's got da, 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 you know, stuff that's just like falling off the pitch, slurring up to it, which is some of these lines right here, which interestingly enough, you can actually change in Melodyne, but again, we're not here for that. So the lesson here is when you're trying to get ready for a recording session or live performance, don't try to be perfect on pitch and don't try to be perfect on rhythm. That is a fantasy, and that's what Dre was talking about, that he learned from Ma'at and from David Isaac. And I've learned from Quincy Jones and David Kahn and so forth in my life, Tom Baylor, you know, because my teacher taught me to teach people to be on perfect pitch, because that was, in his mind, the only way that they could avoid strain. But in this style of music, you can not be straining and sing the pitch flat because that's the way it should feel. Not because you're straining, because that's the way it should feel. And that's the way that I coach, and that's why I call myself a radical vocal coach.
And another thing to touch on that, I just remember Mott used to always tell us, like, what's the first girl, Catherine?
Yeah.
We don't talk like that. Like when we have regular speed, our inflections they move. You feel me?
Yep.
That's that feeling.
Well, and you know, I love what you're saying so much that one of the things that I've pointed out, so, you know, I'm going to get my Zoom video back and it's not cooperating. I said, back to meeting. I want to go back to the meeting. I am on the meeting, so I'm confusing it. There we go. Okay. So say that again, please, Dre.
We don't talk like how Catherine's is.
Yeah.
Our natural speech isn't like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like our inflections when we talk regular, it moves. It's everywhere. It's not on time. It's not perfect.
Mm-hmm. And yours is different than everybody else's in the universe that we know of so far. Everybody's different, and that's one of the things that we call a hook. That is just something that happens because you know, when you talk to somebody on the phone a couple of times, you start to recognize who they are before they say their name without caller ID.
For sure.
Yeah, because their speech patterns have kind of become imprinted in your brain.
I got a homie named Syrup, and when he called me, I know it's Syrup, man, for sure.
Well, and if you hear somebody 20 times on the radio a day, You get imprinted the same way. You know who they are right away. So sometimes it's not something way unique about them, it's how often you've heard them.
For sure.
But the unique thing is really cool too. And I know, record labels always look for something unique. And that's what Dre and I's point is here. To be a singer and to be successful as a singer, you want to be different. Not the same as anybody. There's a great saying Dre will like here. Don't try to be somebody else. That place is already taken.
I was just gonna say that.
All right.
In a different way. We look at
Say
it like
your way.
wrestling, right? Like WWE, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's already a Rock, so you can't come into the WWE trying to be the Rock. You get what I'm saying? It's already taken.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it for fantasy.
Yeah. In order to blow, you gotta be you.
That's right. That's right, man. You gotta be yourself. And I know that's scary for some people. And I don't know if you may have noticed this in the studio because of the way you coach Dre, like I do. Sometimes when you and Ma'at, and by the way, Ma'at's going to be my guest in a couple of weeks, so be watching out for that because he's incredible.
Man, bruh, got knowledge.
But now I got to go back to what I was going to say. So, what was I going to say? What were we talking about, Dre?
We're talking about the uniqueness.
Oh yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, so if you're just talking, you're already unique. So then you were talking about how things are not like the way Catherine was singing them. So if all of a sudden I become very sad, where'd the pitch of my voice go? Went down. Went heavy. I can barely get it out. I'm tense. I can hardly talk. That's the stuff that you hear when somebody's crying, not what Catherine's doing. It's not what you hear. Sometimes you hear things like, well, you should always smile when you're in the recording studio. You want to get that smile on the sound. Well, if you're always smiling, then what feel have you got? Well, it's all happy. So if the words come out, I just died, I'm getting dramatic here. It's a suicide song, and hey, and I just died. Well, I just died. That's going to come out on the mic.
For sure.
It's not, I just died. So even in speech, this is where I was heading. Even in speech, we already know how to inflect. We already know how to create our emotions. We don't really need any coaching in that area. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So sometimes when we bring this out in people, whether it be a record producer or me as a coach, all of a sudden the person, his emotions just came out for the first time. They weren't expecting that. Because we coached them, we allowed them the freedom to do that, and then they introvert. So, oh my gosh, somebody just heard how I actually feel. It can be very scary.
For sure.
So get used to that. Don't let that happen in the studio. Prepare for it, because Ma'at's not letting you walk out of his studio without you feeling something. Quincy Jones, come on.
Man.
You got Dave Isaac, come on, Motown. These guys are, they're like, they're not going to trap you. They're going to chain you by.
You can't leave.
Yeah, Ma'at might do it, he says. I can see the hand signals. I know you, so I know what those mean. Now, before we forget, so Dre does a lot of live stuff. And what's the project you're doing right now? You were telling me about it. This is very cool. What he's doing.
I work with a multimedia company. They're called Schoolyard Rap, and they specialize in education. So what they do is they go up and down California, different states and stuff like that, and they put on these big old rap style concerts, but everything's history based, right? So think about like what's that old school? I forgot what it's, something rock. I forgot, but it's like that. But I've come in. I was just a producer of the records at first, just like making records. But then when these live shows started coming on, they needed, of course, audio guys and stuff like that. And bro, it's been like the biggest change in my life, audio wise, for a while. It's a lot. It's a lot.
So can you, I know you don't have time to tell us all that stuff, but what could you summarize it kind of? Why is it a lot?
Just everything that goes into putting together a live performance, bro. From programming lights to programming click tracks, learning how to in-ear mixes, front of house monitoring, on stage monitoring, side fills. Just it's a lot, bro. My biggest thing, the biggest hurdle I had was when you're doing like big theater shows and stuff like that. When you're talking to the people and telling them where to put stuff, everyth's backwards. So like my
stage
right
right,
hand,
stage left.
stage right, stage left. Bro, it took me forever. Like I'm the producer of the show, so I do a lot of the cues, right? So I got the headset on, telling people what to do. And bro, my first show, I had to tell them like, hey y'all, I'm kind of new at this stage stuff. So if I say stage left, I'm really talking about my right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the biggest hurdle.
So again, back to focusing on singers. So I know your kids have some training before they get to you, right?
So we put on shows for kids. The artists that we do have, they're a little bit older, but we for sure trained on that 8-hour rehearsals, all type of stuff, because singing on stage with in-ears and stuff like that, it can get weird, because when you got in-ears in, all you hear is your mix. So you're not hearing crowd, you're not hearing what's going on stage necessarily. It's just whatever your mix is.
Mm-hmm. So if they're going to hit that stage, then they got to be ready.
For sure.
They got to know what the in-ears feel like if they're using those.
Because it's not the studio. I can't punch you in.
Right. You do some mixing though, like you said. You can change some of the things in their in-ears though. Like
especially with like technology now, it's crazy.
It's great. It's like you're in the studio all the time. You know, rock bands, even the older rock bands, REO Speedwagon, Journey, and all that. You know, they're up there on their stage. If you look very carefully, you'll see a lot of speaker cabinets, but none of them are playing any sound. They just got little red lights on them to make them look like they're on, but they're just they're just boxes. You know, it's just stage, you know, and then they put the drummer way back, and maybe they put glass around him if they need to. What do they call those? Drummer
reflection glass. I don't know. We have one.
Yeah, it keeps the drummer from being heard by the people on the stage, so that the headphone mix is clean.
Because if you don't got that, bro, them hi hats and them crashes are gonna kill you.
Yeah, you can't mix it.
Gonna kill you.
You know, and the other good thing is they know now that hearing, loss of hearing, from me, I lost 2K, around 2K, I've got hearing loss. You know, when you're around drums a lot, they hit those cymbals, and they know now that just destroys your eardrums, man.
It'll tear you up on stage. It'll tear you up.
So, tell us about what a singer has to expect from speakers on the stage. We've kind of talked about earphones and so forth, but what's going to be different about that? Say if they've done a lot of recording and now they're hitting the stage, and they got the live stage monitors.
So we usually use 4 to 6 downstage monitors, and then we use 2 side fields, just so no matter where you're at, you can kind of hear what's going on. It's different when it's a live band on stage with you, because they kind of overpower everything. Well, drums do, but those monitors, I mean, they're a must. We always have them, because like I said, you gotta hear. We've kind of strayed away from those for our artists. Our artists usually use in-ears, but we do have dancers, and the dancers have to hear that, because what the band's playing isn't necessarily exactly what the track's doing and what they choreograph to.
You're right, it does get complicated. You're a smart man. You handle all that. What about feedback? What's happening these days? Now, in my day, that was a serious problem, but you were telling me, we talked a little bit offline, that there's some new stuff that's helping you with that.
Yeah, feedback really isn't a problem. Like, especially like live, we be in the crowd, we be everywhere, and we really don't got feedback. There's a lot of plugins and stuff like that out that kind of knock out a lot of background noise and stuff like that from going back into the speakers and stuff like that. Waves make something good called clarity. It's
Yeah, that's what
awesome.
you're telling me about.
Yeah,
I love that
clarity's
word,
awesome,
clarity.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like just knocks out everything, and it's like a soft gate. So as soon as your vocal hit, it lets it through. It's dope. It's
Yeah,
dope.
you don't hear when he's talking about gates, guys. Is if they're too hard, what happens is it's like, hello, you don't hear my H.
It cuts you out.
Because hello, and so it gets sounding kind of weird, which you probably use sometimes for effects. But
UAD makes an awesome gate for live too. I forgot what it's called. It's a suite.
Ma'at once told me, says, once we get you into our mixer, we control you. We can do anything we want with you.
Especially now. Oh man, the AI world, I can make you sound like whatever I want.
No, don't tell me that. But as we promised, this is the reality show. We're not American Idol. Yeah, with AI, it's really going to change things even more and more and more.
Sure.
And keeping up on that is just being smart. Just keeping up with the tools of the day.
Great tools.
I call the human voice, and I've been calling this for a long time, but you dramatize it even more. We are an acoustical electronic instrument. We're acoustic for about 2 inches, maybe an inch. Depends on where the mic is. After that, we're not acoustic anymore. We're 100% electronic. So how you treat that mic, pretty big deal, isn't it, guys?
Super big deal.
Yeah, if I treat that mic poorly, I'm going to sound poorly.
For sure.
So on my web page, and I just realized this just recently working with using FarPlay a lot and just kind of getting into that whole mindset of promoting that if I'm teaching the technique of the stars, which I could say that because I've worked with stars, plus my mentor worked with a lot of stars, and Roger Love and Seth Riggs and we worked with a lot of stars. And these people, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and so forth they're very, very familiar with headphones and microphones and all that. And that's a big part of why they're so good. And so if you're a beginner, you shouldn't be practicing in an open room trying to hear yourself reverberate. That's not how it's done. You should be using a mic and headphones, and you can do it so inexpensively now. FarPlay is a free app. You can plug in your headphones, you can plug in your mic, and you can balance yourself with the tracks. It's just a whole different world. And you need to be into that world, not afraid of that world, so that when you go in with Dre or Ma'at, that you are ready, that you feel good. I always talk about when you walk on a live stage, should you be afraid or should you feel good? Well, if you're a confident performer, you feel good. If you're a confident recording artist, you feel good. You have done your pre-work, whatever that is, from whatever you're coming from, whatever that is, you do that first, and then everybody feels your confidence. They don't feel arrogance. You're not trying to pull one over on them. They feel confidence that you are there to express your feelings, express things where you want to do, like Sarah McLachlan, and that's success.
Touching back on the microphone situation, microphone technique is like, bro, it's everything. Even like on stage, bro, just knowing what to do changes lives, bro. It makes it so much easier on your engineer.
Oh yeah, they can hurt your ears, or they can actually destroy. Have you had anybody do this? I've heard about this, where you put a ribbon mic on them because you really want to get that clean, intimate sound, and then they blast out a big one on you and it breaks the rib.
I won't do that.
Yeah.
If you want me to use a ribbon mic, bro, you gotta have insurance and all type of shit.
Yeah.
I'm not about to blow out my $15,000 mic.
That's right. Excess dB pressure is not where it's at.
Right now, I'm using a Manly Ref with the 251 tube in it. Bro, I'm scared to put that up.
Yeah, I've got a tube in this mic, and if I pull this filter off and get too close to it, it'll just mute me out.
But
Luckily, it doesn't hurt it, but it's just like I just disappeared. Yeah, it's just like
I'm scared. You blow my capsule, I'm gonna be hot.
Ooh, yeah. So let me just do a quick demonstration of that. So if I don't understand this whole decibel level world and I haven't been coached properly for microphones and so forth, and I go for a high note and I go, oh yeah, and you see the dB meter go, well, I'm going to put a compressor on you real quick, or I'm going to limit you, because I don't want that going out on the record. That is way too much dB level, right? So you want to train for, oh baby, not, oh baby. You control it internally. You control the dynamics inside of yourself, so that first of all, you're not wasting your energy, blowing out 100 dB when no one wants to hear any more than 75. You know, I mean, that's just a waste of your energy. And there's a story that you've probably run into this, Dre, but maybe didn't see it from a vocal coach's perspective. And that is somebody comes in and they can't hear themselves, and you don't know they can't hear themselves, and they start singing. Actually, let me back off. Another demonstration. So you put the limiter on them or compress them, whichever you decide to do. And they're used to, when they're practicing, they're used to going from 75 to 120, which is a little bit dramatic, dB level, you know, maybe 75 to 100. And they're used to hearing that. And so your compressor is going to automatically, you're going to have this on automatically. It's going to cut them back, or the limiter is going to cut them back to 80 or 85 if you're going to allow that much dynamic. But here's what happens to the singer. The singer's used to hearing that 100, and so they're going to start pushing really hard because they don't hear it in their headphones anymore because you've cut it off. Now this is instinctive. They don't know they're doing this, but they're just tearing their voices to shreds.
For sure.
And they're burning out. And nobody knows, like, why did I lose my voice? That's one of the things that can happen to you. You need to be able to talk to your engineer. You need to understand what's happening in the studio. And you need to be able to sing in a way that there's a story Khaliq tells about Patti LaBelle. It's just hilarious because I guess she sings really loud. And so she came in the studio and he started recording. The first thing he did was, and you know, he turned the compressor up to the point that it was knocking her down. And she could hear it. And she said, no, you ain't doing that to me. And he had to try to figure out what he was going to do now. And luckily he had the experience to figure it out. But I mean, it really put him on the spot. It's like, now what am I going to do? You know, the singer's not going to cooperate with my gear. It's not going to cooperate with the way I'm going to do things. So again, Patty's very familiar with what's going on, and she knows how to talk to the engineer. She knows how to get what she needs to get.
What she's hearing in her head.
Yeah.
She knows what she wants.
And so this is kind of what we're talking about. So whether it be live stage or with inner monitors, whether it be speakers on the stage, now sometimes you don't get such great monitor systems.
Yeah, I've had that situation, bro.
And I'll tell you what my belief about that is. If I can't hear myself, I'm not going to let anybody else hear me either. So if those monitors can't get my vocal up, I'm going to leave the stage. And I'll tell you why. Because you are literally tone deaf. You can't hear your voice, you are tone deaf. Now what does that mean? That means that your pitch is everywhere.
For sure.
Your rhythm is everywhere. I've heard this happen where the singer didn't even sound like you were in the same key as the band.
Yep, I've had that happen on stage, bro.
Oh yeah, you said yeah.
I've had it happen when we had Bad Manner. That's why we moved over to in-ears.
Yep. That's what they're invented.
Yeah, going to we're not at the same venue. We're at a different venue every 2 days, and you run into them monitors and they're just ass, bro. Like you said, I've had a couple of my artists lose their voice because they're trying to overcompensate because they can't hear themselves. All type of shit.
Yeah, and what's worse, and the reason I would walk off the stage is because they're going to blame me.
Yep.
I'm the singer. They're going to blame me. They're going to say, oh, this guy can't sing.
Yep.
Nobody knows why I sound like that. Not even me. But I'm the one who's going to get blamed. So I want to know how to talk to my engineer. I want to know how to talk to my sound man. I want to buy him a pizza and a beer before the show starts so that he pays attention to me. Because some guys, they don't pay attention to you, you know. They don't care about you, you know. So
Especially if you're working with like a lot of the union workers.
Oh yeah.
They don't give a
So yeah, I mean, I've seen it happen where a singer gets up on stage and starts singing, the sound man doesn't even know he didn't turn the mic on.
Yep.
And the singer says, "Whoa, stop!" You know, try to get hand movements, try to get the band to stop or whatever's going on. I say, "Hey, you know." So I mean, all this stuff can happen to you. So what we're trying to do, one of the things we're trying to do with this podcast is something I do every day with my one-on-one students, is prepare you. By listening to these podcasts, you will learn how to be prepared. Now, you still need more than these podcasts, but these things can really help you understand the world you're in so that you don't embarrass yourself the first time you walk out on their stage or the first time you come into, did they do that Schoolhouse Rock? Was that a movie or something, Maya?
Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh, well, I'll ask him that later. He can't talk to me right now. Because we're on Farplay, and we'll be doing a switch over here in a moment. But it's all about the preparation. And I've talked to Dave Isaac and I've had conversations, and and the better producers, they'll do this. They'll do pre-production with you. They'll take you aside and they'll say, "Look, okay, we're not doing anything yet. I haven't hit the record button, so you don't have to have any red light fright, and you're not actually being recorded, so you have to worry about the mic fright. But we're going to go over some things here and get you ready. So we go in there and hit the record for real. That something good's going to happen. All right." And I know most producers are aware of what Quincy Jones started a long time ago with digital recording, is they record everything.
For sure. Always push through.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen that's going to be good. Mm-hmm. And then from there, they'll edit. And so, a lot of times they say, a lot of times somebody like Dre will say, well, the best thing was the first thing you did.
Yep. Not
the 20th. You may have thought you got better.
Got worse.
Yeah, you got worse. And that's called introversion. That's when the singer starts trying to second guess everything.
Yep.
So, like you said, how did I sound? And I loved your answer. How'd you feel? If you don't know, I don't know. I mean, I do know, but
yeah.
And that's another confidence thing that they have to have coming into the studio, is that they have to be confident. We talked about it a little bit earlier. They have to be confident exposing their emotions.
For sure.
But at the same time, there's a little bit of a caveat on that. We don't want them to introvert too much either and say, "Oh, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? How am I feeling?" You just know because you were the one who did it. You don't have to think back. Oh, did I feel that word? No, you were there. Right? You felt the sadness. I'll give a little bit of free advice to everybody, because these podcasts are listened to by more than just who's on air right now. Write down the lyrics of your song, or type them in, on your iPhone, whatever. Put a space in between each line, and underneath each phrase, write down the emotion of that phrase. Is it sadness? Is it ambivalence? Is it I don't give a shit? Is it empathy? Apathy is the more correct saying for that. Is it happiness? Is it I'm just setting up the story? I'm walking down the street. Hey, you guys are hanging. That's nothing really critical happening, but I'm leading somewhere. All those things, if you write those in, you'll see there's a roller coaster of emotions that flow from the beginning of the song to the end of the song. And that's what Dre wants to hear.
For sure.
That's what your audience wants to hear. Otherwise, why listen? I'd be bored. Imagine a TV show that doesn't do that, doesn't have a roller coaster going on. You'll fall asleep in the first 5 minutes.
The whole thing, nothing going on. Turn it off, brother.
Like, I'm bored. Sandra's great at this. Nah, I'm bored. Let's turn this off. She's got to be interesting, or she is out of there. Okay, well, I think we can open this up now. So give us just a moment, guys. We're going to disappear for just a second, but we'll come back. We promise. We're just leaving Farplay. And we're going to go on so that we can have questions and answering for everybody. And first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and get off Farplay. So we're leaving. Okay, Dre, did you get computer audio back on? Can you hear me, Dre? Can anyone hear me? Yeah, okay. So Dre just got his headphone off or something. He's just, like I said, we'd be quiet for a minute. So, can you hear me, Dre?
Yep.
Oh, okay. We hear you. All right. So we're going to go ahead and open this up to Q&A. And I'm going to let Dre do most of the talking. My other mentor in the room is kind of letting me know that I've been talking too much, which is good for me to know. So whoever wants to talk first, just go ahead and turn your mic on. Make it a free-for-all. And your video if you like.
I'll go for it. Good morning, Brad. Good morning, Dre. Or afternoon, actually.
Depends on what time we wake up, right?
Yeah. On the Schoolhouse Rock, Dre was talking about the stuff he was working on with a Grill B. And I think he was referencing Schoolhouse Rock when he said the type of stuff. Okay. All right, Dre. An artist has written songs and is new to recording.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want from them? What can they do to prepare to make the session go better for you and them?
Know the words. know your words and know, like, I really like people that are coachable, you know? Like, not like stuck in the way, especially like new artists. Like sometimes they come in super, super big headed or whatever the hell. But if you can listen, bro, I can guide you the correct way to get what's in your head out. That's my job as a producer. You know what I'm saying? So if you come in knowing your lyrics, being coachable, knowing even like some of the language that us engineers speak, that all helps me. That's pretty much it.
And what can they expect to happen in the studio? What can they expect from you?
So what we're gonna do, I always do this with my first timers, right? We sit in the studio at first, right? And I like to chop game. I don't really charge them for that extra time because I like to let them know like what they're getting into. Are they doing this to try to actually like get big doing this, like make this something like a career, or are they like hobbyists just doing it just for the fun of it? Either way, I like to sit them down, chop game, and then the first thing I always have them do is, let me hear your song right here, right now. Like, what are we doing? I want to hear you live. I want to hear you do it. So I know what I'm getting myself into and what I need to do in order to, you know, polish it up a little bit.
Now, the Suno AI that I've been using, Olga, and Brad, I called Dre and I forget what it was about. And he was like, do you know about Suno? And I was like, what are you talking about, Dre? What's going on? And he showed me, and he did. I just sent him the lyrics and he put it in, and I heard it back. I was like, oh yeah, I'm on it. And I've been on it hardcore, Dre. I've been on that.
Suno is so tight just because you can hear your record in every genre possible that you can think of. And what I'm really impressed about Suno is like when it does like the background harmonies and all those stuff. Mm-hmm. I think that's super crazy, bro. And like I said, it's a tool of like, I may not use their lead, but some of those backgrounds, oh yeah, we gonna use those.
And so what I've been using Suno for is demoing the song. And they have the new feature where you can, like, Olga will sing the melody and the lyric, whatever, and then type up the lyrics, but Suno will listen to that and use her melody on the song. And yeah. You haven't seen that, Dre?
No, I haven't used it since I told you about it.
It's new. And they have a little bit of stem separation type thing where once you're done, you can take the vocal out of the music and then they can sing to the music. You can have the acapellas. That's new. But so like Olga has multiple times now, like say she sings a lyric and Olga's in here with us, She'll sing a lyric, sing a melody, and then I'm listening to this thing sing back as Olga. And she's typed up her lyrics, and it's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
We've been using that to demo songs, and then we've been recording and producing songs for Olga, and it's been coming out pretty good. It's been a useful tool to help structure and work out the song and see how it would sound. She's out in Vegas, I'm out here in Cali.
So she got her own setup, like a little in-house setup.
Okay,
cool.
She uses I forget the name, Audacity.
Okay, Audacity.
And
bro, that's one thing I always tell all my clients too. Like, hey, go home, spend a little $300, get you a little setup, bro, so you can practice, get used to being on the mic, demo stuff out, get it how you want, and then come in here. Come ready. Let's get it knocked out. That's always the thing. And
she's been kicking butt. We have some great songs. Anyway, I don't want to take up too much time because me and Dre can actually chop it up and.
But for sure, I'm about to get on Suno in a minute. And wait a minute.
Yeah, bro. If you
Suno's
want me to do what you did,
by the way, guys.
Oh yeah, my bad. So
yes.
Suno's an AI app where you can write out your lyrics, and if you want it to be rap, whatever it is, you have your chorus, verse, bridge, pre-chorus, refrain, outro, all kinds of stuff. You tell it what each section of the verse, the vocals are, and you can have it do soul, rock, R&B, trap, all kinds of stuff, and listen to what your song is. And you can actually, if something doesn't work out, you can tell it, okay, I want to redo that section and just work it out until the song is what you need. And worst come to worst, you can put that in your DAW like Pro Tools and arrange things and make it do what you want to do.
Suno's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
I really like the word tool. Where do you guys think it's going to lead as far as actual, everybody's scared of it, right? Everybody's always paranoid first. Mm-hmm. So where do you guys think it's going to lead as far as like taking over the industry?
Nah.
I have no fear of that. That's like drum machines. When drum machines came in, they thought that was the end of drummers. And I'm sitting here wanting a drummer on something that we're working with Olga right now.
It's a field thing, bro.
Yeah.
A drum machine compared to an actual drummer, it's a super field thing.
Yeah. How do you tell the story when a machine doesn't know the story? Now maybe AI can help with that, but the drum machines, they just played the same thing over and over again. There were producers back in the day that used to just take like 2 bars and then just loop it. Same kind of thing.
Still do that today.
Oh. Yeah, still do it today. So part of the reality of AI is some people have to step their game up. AI will outsing many people right now. Out emotion many people. Some people just don't have that. They can't convey that emotion. And so you have to step your game up. And if I make a drum beat and you can't, if I make a drum beat and make it live and you can't beat me, you may have some work to do. That's how I look at it.
Well, there's always somebody. I mean, Whitney Houston certainly set a standard. All the greats set a standard. So whether it's AI or it's them, you got to bring up your game. And hopefully that's what I help people with, and that's what you guys are helping people with your great way of producing things. And Ma'at is like, I don't know if you were here when I mentioned you. It's like the philanthropist of teaching. He knows more than almost anybody, and he's also giving it away
for free. He be just giving it away.
I know.
Just giving it up.
He wants my job. No. No, I'm proud of Ma'at. I tell him, because we're different ages, he's going to be my legacy. It's going to be a time when I can't say anything more about it, but he's still going to be saying it. It's going to be like, yeah, I said that.
I got you, and I give props where props is due.
I know you do.
And you know how much you've helped me, because it was weird. I was a robot, no emotion type thing, and I had to go down the path of emotion. And while I was doing that, I was with DreDeMost, H-Bomb, and all of them, and I kept coming to Brad and the others like Dave Isaac and Hampton and Khaliq and them. It's like, bro, how do I get into this emotion stuff? Because I'm used to like no emotion, like death,
Well, and I think this is what you also see with singers that come into you. They're dead already.
Yes.
And that's the Katherine Jenkins thing. It's not really dead, but I mean, it's like, okay, what have you got to say? I've got perfect pitch and I've got perfect rhythm. Oh, okay, good for you. See you later.
You on the grid like a motherfucker, boy.
Yeah. Dre, where you at? Where's this at? I don't think, have I been there?
Oh, no, this my house.
Oh, okay. House. Okay. Yeah. I'm sitting there looking at all the shoes. Yeah, I'm like, okay. I'm like, where you at? Like, you got your shoes stacked up in the studio now?
I'm in my room.
Okay.
We're all very cash here,
Yeah. I am working on a new spot though. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. I got all the equipment already too. I just gotta get some new speakers.
There was something, just real quick. I had sent a mix to Dre, and I love the mix. I love it. But I was wanting something where the transients were soft and the mix would be pushed forward. The stereo image doesn't collapse. I was looking for that type of thing, and he had bought this Neve something. I forget what it was.
Orbit, bro, the Summy mixer. What?
And he ran it through that, gave me 3 different versions, and it did it. And I said, Dre, what'd you do? He said, I don't know. I just turned knobs and pushed it in there, and I don't know. He was new to it. And that red, blue, whatever that silk, whatever that, you tell it, Dre, whatever that stuff
silk,
is,
bro.
it did it.
Yeah, it's a 16-channel Summy mixer. Like, I got my setup different now. Like, if you send me something now, woo! But yeah, it got.
I'm gonna send you one of my songs now too, and see what happens. But go ahead.
What? Yeah, send it to me, bro. I'm gonna tear it up. But yeah, it's a
confidence.
It's a cool ass Summy mixer because usually Summy mixers got hella knobs. You can pan them, whatever the hell, right? This got 2 knobs, bro. It got your drive, and then it got something called silk. So it got red silk and blue silk. You can pick. Red silk, it like saturates more of like the high mids and highs, and then blue silk saturates like your low ends. And bro, you just turn the knob, put it on, and turn the knob till you like it. Print. It's amazing. Probably one of the best pieces of gear I got.
So while we're talking about AI, what I'm gonna do is there's a song that I wrote. It's just me, and there's a female AI singing it. It's done. I'm gonna send that to Dre, have him do his thing, give me different versions. I'm gonna pick one and then put it up on my SoundCloud. Is this SoundCloud? SoundCloud.
That's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, put it up on my SoundCloud. And it'll say whatever it'll say Ma'at Hotep blah blah DreDeMost, and the song is about a woman who's in jail and her children has grown up. She went in jail, and then her children have grown up while she's been in jail. It's that type of thing, and she wants to get out of jail. She's like, look, this is crazy. I like, no way, But so I'm gonna send that to you, Dre, and then I'll put it up on my SoundCloud once you do it on your thing.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I'm trying to tell you, bro, that Summer mixer's crazy, bro. When we was coming up, we was always like, bro, we don't need no fucking gear. Gear is bullshit. You feel me?
Yep.
Bruh. Man.
So I gotta be a host here for a second, guys.
Awesome.
So singers, those of you who are watching this podcast, or those of you who are actually here, we may not understand what they're talking about, but it's important that we get a feel for this. And you are meeting these people here, and you'll be able to contact them later, and this is an important world for you to be in. Don't just be out in your little front room with your own little recording studio thinking you're doing all the great stuff. Meet these people, talk to these people, get in touch with them, hire the skills, learn what's happening, get involved.
What, for sure. And hey, man, you reach out to me, I'm gonna answer. For sure.
And you see how Dre said we didn't care about the gear at first. We didn't. And we were getting results that we love. But like I was working, when I would do something, I was working this hard to get the sound that somebody was putting this much work in to do it. So they were able to do so much more because they only put in this much work because it was good. I do something and I have to do this much work to get it to be good. And then it's not the same. And when you start getting into the gear, certain gear just does certain things. You record it, sounds like a record. Like I'm done. Wait, I'm done. And then you can focus on other stuff. Like I can get more into the emotion and pay attention to that instead of manually de-essing everything and doing a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway.
Hey, Ma'at, you remember DeVille, right?
Of course.
Bro.
He's one of my favorite, period, on
bro,
it.
I got him to the point now where just like that, bro, he pushes record and the chain that he got set up and his understanding of how shit works, bro, sounds fucking awesome, bro.
And so for you singers, if that happens, if we record you and you just sound awesome, your confidence goes up and you can get into doing your thing. You're like, wow, I sound wonderful. Mm-hmm. And you get into it, you know, versus me doing a whole bunch of work saying, hold on, I got you. You know, that type of stuff.
Having to do all type of shit and yeah, for sure.
So we got 3 guests here. So can we get somebody new in here and break up the pattern a little bit? Not that I wasn't enjoying it, I was.
I have, how are you, Dre? Nice to meet you.
How you doing? Nice to meet you too.
You have a lot of good information and again, fortunate to be here, fortunate to be working with everybody. I just learned some new terminology, just yesterday. I had a question about how, when someone goes into a recording studio, if a singer says, hey, I want to sound very crisp, I want to sound very forward. So I learned a little bit about overtones and harmonies and how you have to find a sweet spot and how you don't want to, go towards the ceiling and get distorted. It sounds terrible I'm saying it, and also there's also the like the horizontal aspect where you have to control. But I just want to know if someone says that to you, what else do you think about, like in terms of the microphone, or what other tools can you use if a vocalist wants to sound that way? So I'm sorry, just to add to, if I say I want to have parts of the song that are quieter, but I want them to sound crisp, but I'm also going to be belting in the song. So taking that into consideration, what tools do you feel so that I can communicate it in the future working with her?
Yeah, for sure. So, oh, did I go out? I don't hear it. Oh no, I'm back. All right, I was tripping. So for me, when it comes to like the aspect of like mixing a record like that and somebody telling me that, it would solely depend on if I'm using a 2-track or if it's a full stem. If it's full stem, like the beats tracked out or anything like that, which I suggest if you're going into a studio and recording a record, you always have the stems to your beats. For sure, it makes our job like 100% easy, because a bad 2-track, like a shitty 2-track, bro, I can only do so much to make it fit, right? To make your vocal fit. But I do this one little trick. A Fab filter. It's a Fab Filter Pro EQ3, right? It's a dynamic EQ, right? So what I can do is I can side chain certain frequencies in your vocal. So when your vocal plays, the beat's knocking out, right? So that's one thing I do to get like a vocal shining through and just sticking there and like super crisp and everything. I do a lot of limiting and compression on my vocals, which a lot of people don't do, but I do it a certain way. I actually take limiters, and this is something my OG Ma'at taught me. I boost frequencies into limiters, right? So limiters are supposed to like just kill sound, right? But when you do this certain technique, it'll actually allow you to push like the certain frequencies that you want to make your vocal more crispy, like in the high end or the air part of everything, without like killing your dynamics or like distorting anything like that. So that's another thing I do. Also, like you can do parallel compression, mid-side. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do to get your vocal crisp.
Okay.
And then as far as like belting and stuff like that, it's just about making space, right? That's all it's about. It's all about being able to hear like, all right, my lead vocal's right here. So what can I do to make this ad-lib vocal really stand through but not be too loud? Like I said, a lot of parallel, a lot of side chaining, stuff like that.
Okay.
So I just want to interject. So guys, if your producers or your engineers aren't talking like these guys are, find somebody else. Because what they're talking about is making it feel better. They're not talking about making their studio sound better. They're talking about making you sound and feel better. Not getting in the way of the feel, but accenting the feel.
There's like there's like another little trick I like to do on like background vocals. Right? Okay. This is like one of my little things. So I'll duplicate the background vocal, right? I'll pan it hard left, pan it hard right. And then on like the left side, I'll put a 1 millisecond delay on it, and on the right side, I'll put a 2 millisecond delay on it. So it'll be the same vocal, right? But the signal's hitting your ears at different times, so it like spreads it apart and does some cool shit. Try that shit out, man.
That's why we used to stack.
Yep.
Oh, it's stacking. Okay.
And Olga, so real quick, like you learning the language will help you communicate to us, but it's also our job to know what it's also our job to figure out what you're saying. So when you might say, I want this to be rosy, we have to communicate with you and try to figure out what you're saying and get it, because we do this all the time. So it's a big part of it is on us trying to interpret and then doing it. We got all kinds of techniques for doing stuff.
You know, Maya, that's a great thing to mention to singers and Olga. The musicians and the people that work with you, if you can't talk to them about how it feels, what is the feel of this phrase, then again, you need to find other people, because you want to stay in that world. I feel this, I feel that, not I want you to play a major 7 here, and I want you to, you know, like be a 16th off the beat here. You can't predict great singers. You don't know when they're going to come in and off the beat. You don't know when they're going to be a little bit flat or a little bit sharp, because that's all happening off the top of their head. So you want to talk to them, like Ma'at saying, it's up to him. Say, you know, if Michael Jackson comes in and says, hey, I want this to sizzle, you know, or I want this, you know, Michael did all his own tracking in all his instruments, so he did multi-tracking. So if he comes in and says, I want to go, boop, 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 you got to do, if you're the bass player and you can't do that, goodbye.
Hey, you got to get a new bass player.
Yeah, and if the
Michael
engineer
Jackson
can't make it feel right, again, Michael's going to be, or Quincy's going to be, hey, you got to make it feel right.
You got to go. What's the record they mixed 99 times? Which one was it? I forgot. I think it was like Billie Jean or something. One of them records.
Oh, Billie Eilish. Billie Jean. Oh, that's
yeah,
stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but the Michael Jackson record, they mixed it hella times, bro, and they ended up just going with the first one. It felt right, you know. That's right. And that's another thing I do. Like when I mix, bro. Like I said, I don't really trip off meters too much. Like I'm always checking out my VU meter just because of gain staging purposes or whatever, to make sure I got headroom. But bro, I mix off feel. Like EQ wise, bro, I like using like a lot of the non-graphical EQs, you know, like the Pule Text and stuff like that, just so I'm turning knobs and I'm like going for the feel more than just looking like at the fucking graph and be like, oh, there's a bad frequency right there and shit like that.
Yeah, if you're an engineer watching this, you know, again, you'd be learning from somebody who knows the right way to do things. Yeah, everybody's got a learning curve.
But yeah, another thing, Olga, if you're in a studio and like your vocals sounding like super dull, like the life sucked out of it, that engineer probably over compressing your shit. You feel me? You tell them to turn that compressor down.
Okay.
For sure. Like it'll just like suck the life out of your vocal if you do it too much.
It pulls the high end off.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
You can actually hear it when you get experienced, Olga. There was a song that Katy Perry, the one about 4th of July.
The fireworks record?
Fireworks, yeah, fireworks. Thank you. There were some phrases in there. I was able to hear this because I'm a vocal coach. But there was times when she was singing real well on the high notes. I mean, the way that doesn't require a lot of excess dB level and has good feel to it. And I could hear that because I could hear the high frequencies in her voice. But then she'd turn right around and sing the same note on another vowel, another word, and she'd be like pushing it real hard. And you'd hear the compressor come in and just kill that high end. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Personally, I don't want that to happen to me. You know, if I was performing, I would rather do it myself. I mean, I'd rather have the high end in there and control the dynamics myself.
Well, it's bad when you can hear the compressor grabbing the vocal and sucking it in. That's horrible. It bothers me. And another thing they might be doing is they might be de-essing too much. That'll kill your vocal, bro.
Okay. Sorry, what de-essing is what? I'm sorry.
De-essing is like it's a compressor for like the high end, so it gets rid of like your that sound. Right,
they seashells by the seashore.
Okay. Yeah, the compressor would catch all those S's and like bring them down, but yeah.
Okay, and then just one more question. When you have an artist come in, or just with your experience with different artists, I know some, I guess, producers or engineers, everyone working with an artist, they say, you know what, you know, they know the song. We're going to have them do, you know, maybe a take straight through and do you feel that the best takes are usually one of the first ones or later on? Like, how do you, is there like a, I don't know.
It's
How's
really like
your
it's really
experience?
like a standard. I
Yeah.
always do like I said. When I have an artist come in, I like to hear them live first before we even get on the mic, just so I can hear what I'm doing. But I always do that take through, always,
Okay.
just so I can hear exactly where they're at and stuff like that. As far as like the best sounding ones, I feel like the best sounding ones are when the artist is more confident.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of just depends on the person. Like they may come in already ready to go, super confident. I've had people come in, knock records out, one take and be like, that's it, bro. We ain't doing no more. I've had other people where it takes them a while to warm up and get in the groove of things. Me, I'm super, super chill when it comes to engineering, right? I'm like not super strict on time like that and stuff like that. I like to make sure that my clients get what they want. You know what I'm saying? So I'm willing to take the necessary time and steps that's required for us to get that out of you, right? It might take you a little more for you to warm up with me. You know, we might have to chop it up a little bit, see what you like, see what we got, see if we got any interest like that. You feel me? And then
Yeah.
go from there.
Okay.
I feel you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for the information.
Yeah, no problem.
So Natasha, you've been great in the past. You want to tune in? And we'll give Nike, Tyler a chance too later on. So
Okay.
don't you leave us, Nike. Hang in there.
Yeah, I wrote down questions. So, okay, the first one is, what was the Neve equipment you were talking about? The dry and
Yeah, so
what?
it's called the Neve Orbit 5750 or something like that. So basically what it is how I use it is it's a summing mixer. So what it does is it's kind of like you get the sound of a Neve board without having to go purchase a Neve board, right? So it takes like all your channels. It got 16 in and outs. Well, it got 16 ins and then it's a 2 out, so it goes into a 2-track. But it takes all of your tracks and it pushes them through there, and it has like transformers and tubes, so you get that Neve sound through all your tracks, and then it busts it back into your Pro Tools session.
How big is it? Is it like,
It's
what's the reason for using
it's
that?
a it's a rack. It's just a little regular, kind of like this. You know what an Apollo interface is, the rack version. It's the
Yeah.
same size as that. It's super cool. It uses DB25 cables, but I'm telling you this: if you got a home spot and you're looking to get some, that summon mixer is awesome. It's like done so much. It's made my mixes more dynamic and more like the separation it adds is crazy. I don't know and I I push it. I push the transformers like crazy on there. I turn it up. I crank it. I crank all my stuff actually, but it's amazing. They also have another piece called the Master Bus, the MBT. If you look that up, that actually gives you the option to have blue and red silk, which are the saturation points, at the same time. With the Orbit, you can only pick one at a time. So if I like something, I'll print and redo it and print again. But that MBT, it has both of them at the same time, so you can add them simultaneously and get a really fucking cool sound.
But the other thing I want to ask is then, so obviously I've heard the Neve being used like quite a lot, like by quite a lot of people. Like in terms of like you using it, what do you think it was? It makes the sound quality sound like. I've heard of people.
Neve is like a super clean sound, right? It's like a clean sound, but the summing mixer, what it does for me and my mixes is it adds more depth and separation, like through my instruments or vocals, backgrounds and stuff like that. So I got it set up to where I get my sounds going. I only use 4 channels right now. I got my sounds, right? So like every sound, like my keys, bass, all that stuff, that goes through one channel. I have my drums going through another channel. I have my vocals going through another channel, and then all my effects going through another. So when it all comes together, it just like adds that extra depth. It's fucking cool.
So you can just hear everything cleaner, like you can
Yeah.
hear at the high quality basically.
Yeah.
The other question I want to ask you is, the in-ear monitors. So, right. So if you're performing and you don't want to have them both in, and Brad was mentioning that you don't want to be tone deaf on stage, and this is something that, like, with previous vocal coaches, they've sort of insisted that I don't hear myself, and it's like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. So do you think it's okay to maybe have one in so you can hear the mix, and then like the other one out so you can hear yourself?
So what's cool about in-ears, every artist, every musician, they get their own mix, right? So as long as you have both in, I can turn down whatever you want me to turn down, so you can just hear you.
Okay, that's
It's super. It's like the greatest thing ever. I promise you that. And then
Dre, do you use a stage mic to record the audio to play?
I was just gonna say that. Yep. I was just gonna touch on that. So some artists, they want to hear the crowd a little bit, right? Just so it's not super dead in your ears. So we'll have a stage mic, and then we can bring that up in their mix. That way, it's pretty much in-ears are like, you get to hear exactly what you want to hear. If you feel like the guitar's too loud, I can turn the guitar down. If you want more bass, I can turn more bass up. So yeah, I wouldn't suggest having just one in, just because like you're gonna get a lot of like, I mean, there is probably gonna be like a little delay because they're wireless, and you're gonna end up hearing what's going on stage, and kind of what's going on stage sometimes can be a little bit messy.
But I think also like when you're performing, you want to like have a relationship with your crowd, because otherwise it's just you like blocked, and then the crowd, and then that's boring, and it's boring for you, and it's like you should enjoy it and actually want to like you're hanging out with friends. I think that's more like I feel more confident when I'm doing that. Whereas if I'm just kind of singing and it's me blocked and then audience blocked, it's like, okay,
am I doing good? Am I all right? Do I sound okay? Yeah, for sure.
A relationship with your audience, like you want to have a relationship. So yeah, that's why I really don't like it when vocal coaches are like, "Oh, I don't want you to hear yourself. I don't want to hear the audience." It's like, well, that's boring. And
there's some of the in-ear mic companies provide a little adjustment on there that which you can open up, and you can bring some of the stage sound in if you want, and then you can close it as you get used to it, get used to being away from it. So, and then there's also an adjustment, like if you want to protect your hearing, some of them have like a 25 dB cut so that the stage sound isn't making you deaf, and you can adjust that as well. If you think it's cutting too much, you can open that up a little bit. So there's some options.
But I definitely agree with you. Like in-ears, and like I said, you're performing and you can't hear the crowd at all. Mind you, when you're on stage, you really can't hear the crowd anyway, right? It's still kind of hard. But if you got in-ears on and you're hearing just nothing at all, that could really fuck you up. So like I said, I always suggest, you get audience mics, and then the artist ears, man, we turn those up a little bit so they can hear what's going on outside.
And practice with them.
For sure.
The other thing I wanted to ask is, so if there's like a stage mic that you're like, you know what, I love using a stage mic, I only want to use a stage mic. I know that's like really a bit high maintenance, but you're like, I just love this stage mic and this is the one I want to use. If you're taking that around with you to different venues, how does it work? So do you take an engineer with you? Do they have engineers there? And then are they able to, if there are different engineers, then are they able to deal with that? The fact that you've got a mic that you're like, no, I want to use this.
Yeah, so I always suggest having your own engineer, your own team with you, just so your sound is always consistent throughout everything. But it's really simple to patch that in. We bring our own stuff everywhere. Every venue we go, we have our own wireless mics. We have our own wireless in-ears. We have our own mixers and everything. And it's real simple for the venues to set that up. It's just a simple patch in. And if you don't have your own engineer there, most venues do provide it, because it comes with the package of like when you rent the theater or the concert hall or whatever.
But that's like scary because you don't know what you're going to get. And I'm always like to be to the nth degree prepared. So like I'd rather have it set, like the engineer knows exactly like how much I want, because I can be a bit OCD. So like I want to get like the exact amount.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And if somebody,
sure.
and especially when you're like, okay, you practiced it and then you know what you're doing, but then it's because I don't want to be on stage and be having to even put a single cell of brain cell on that. I want to already have practiced that, and then just and everything else in my performance, and me just having a shit ton of fun. That's all I want. I don't want to be like, oh, I can only really, I want to hear it 25%, but I only hear it about 10% or whatever. That's just gonna drive me up the wall.
you're like 100% right. When an artist is on tour, the artist's job is to be the artist. You feel me? I ran into situations. That's when we started traveling with our own crew, because the first tour we did, we used everybody else's engineer, right? They're in-house engineers, and some were good, some were lazy, some didn't know what they were doing. So some of the shows weren't as good as the other. And we like consistency. You feel me? We like to, like, if I'm in Sacramento today and 3 days from now I'm going to LA, I want to make sure that my show is going to be my show no matter where I'm at. So yeah, you 100% on that one. You're good.
Yeah, sometimes they're just defensive as well. I've run into that. You know, they just don't want to take your advice because they just don't want to take it.
At all, bro. We ran into that. Like I said, that first tour we did, bro, we ran into it's just different personalities and people don't work the same. And like, you know, we at these venues, bro. I remember one of our first shows we did, bro. Like, bro, it's a rap concert, bro. Turn the music up, bro. Why do you got it so low, bro? Like, turn it up. What are you doing? You can run into all type of shit, bro.
So then the other question is, so if you take your own, so obviously recording in studio mics are different to studio mics. I'm talking about, are different to performance mics. I'm talking about just specifically performance mics here. There is like also a mic that I kind of want to use. I've not used it yet, but I want to use it for studio, but that's different. But just purely for like a stage mic, is that so? In terms of then the acoustic of the space for different venues, does the engineer then need to like adjust that big bass for your mic based on the room?
Yeah, it should be small adjustments. It should be small adjustments. Like, you should already have everything set up to the point where when you go to a different venue, all you're really doing is changing your master EQ to fit that room's acoustics. So,
do you
like,
use that noise, that like pink noise stuff to get your settings, or do you?
Yeah. I like when I'm mixing. I love pink noise. Pink noise is awesome.
What's pink noise?
So white noise is like the regular shh noise, right? So let's say this is your EQ, right? White noise would just be straight, pretty much through your whole EQ spectrum. Pink noise goes like this. So your highs are, your lows are higher, and then it slowly dips down. So when you're mixing and trying to get like a leveled mix, it like super helps out. So what I do is I'll put pink noise on, and then I'll lower every instrument until I can barely hear it in the pink noise. And then when you take the pink noise off,
what does that sound like? Sorry, I've not like
it sounds just like white noise. Just shh. It's annoying as hell, but it helps out a lot.
Maybe I need to hear some pink.
Yeah, you can. They got free pink noise generators that you can get. It's like I said, it's annoying as hell, but it helps out a lot when you're just trying to like get a cool little leveled mix.
So basically, take your own engineer.
For sure, it makes life 100% easy because they know you, they know the show, they know what's gonna happen during the show. I've had like when Brad was talking earlier, we've had instances where the in-house engineer forgot to turn on microphones for certain people.
Drama.
Yeah, we've had a lot of crazy times. Good learning experiences though. And then as far as studio wise, I always suggest artists too, like if you get the opportunity to try different pieces of gear, figure out what pieces of gear fit your vocal, because different gear sounds different on people, different mics sounds different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've forgotten what it's called, but like a few years ago when I was buying I've got a mic, but when I was trying to figure out what mic to buy, and it was like, locked down in Manchester and I couldn't go anywhere, and you don't get all the mics in Manchester, so you can't go try them on. There's like some website where you can actually hear, they've modeled all the mics on it, and you can hear the quality of the different mics. So I had to like literally listen really carefully, and then I decided on an AKG. I was like, just for my messing around at home.
Uh-huh.
But then
which AKG do you have?
Hold on.
There's AKG C14. Now let that mic.
I like to tell people you can go into Guitar Center and just have one PA set up and then try all the different mics without changing any settings.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go, oh, okay, I like this. I don't like this one. Yeah.
That's great for you. I like that.
And then, they got like modeling microphones out there, like Slate makes one, and then Perception.
P420, yeah.
I just like it. I just liked it. Like, just not to like record anything, but just to like, when you're like messing around on Logic. But then there was another one that I kind of, so that was actually another question. So basically let's say there's like a mic that you want to use.
Oh, we lost Nick. Oh, well.
Oh, like a Telefunken.
Telefunken. Ooh, 251?
What, sorry?
A 251, a Telefunken, the skinny one?
You can rent them in London if you're like doing something. You can just rent them for the day and then give it back to them.
Oh, that's tight.
Buy the U47 or whatever that you can get. There's a place in London that you rent them. But yeah, so basically, if you were like, how easy is it to access? That was my question. How easy is it to access those?
So when you're at like bigger recording studios, they pretty much got anything you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go in there and you can kind of just tell them what your vocal chain is, what you want to use, and boom, you got it. For regular consumers, I suggest, right? This is a cool thing to try out. So look up the it's made, Apollo bought them, UAD bought them. I don't know what they call it now. I think they call it the Sphere. It's a modeling microphone, right? And it is probably one of the best modeling microphones I ever used. So you get like 25 different mics that you can choose.
I saw that.
Bro, I promise you, it's dope as hell. I had one. The only reason I sold it because it takes 2 inputs, but I sold it to the homie DeVale, and he uses it constantly. They got the C800 on their model, the 251, AKG C414, Newman 87, 67, 47. And what's cool about it is after you record your vocal, you can literally just click different mics to see which one you like.
So it's actually good. Because I saw that and I was like...
It's good. For sure. It's good.
Yeah, Blue might get an analog version of that where you could put in the different heads.
Yep, the capsules. Yep.
Okay.
The baby bottle, the big one.
And then I have another. Sorry, I keep asking like loads of questions, but this is like techie stuff.
That's all right. You and Olga are it so far. So.
So also you were talking about the EQ, and so like the fab filter. So I came across this EQ that was like, it's just automatic, like you just shove it on. I think I saw it on a training video that what was this?
Is it made by Sonable?
I think so. Like, so basically it was what's it? I forgot the artist's name now. He's like Charlie Puth. Like he talked about it. He did some like training thing, and then like I watched them all. So, and loads of people use the same one. It's like you just throw it on, it'll automatically with AI like sort out the EQ. So my question to you is, because you do this yourself manually, like, is that a good idea to do something like that, or no?
So the AI EQs, all right, so a lot of AI plugins have come out, like they got the AI mastering and the EQ and stuff like that. The EQ, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's all right. It's like, if you're just doing like a quick demo and you just want something to just pop on there real quick, they sound okay to my ear. They're going off an algorithm, right? Zeros and ones. So its job is to just take your vocal and match it as close to whatever it's programmed to match it to. But the problem is, like, I wouldn't EQ your vocal like I would Brad's. You know what I'm saying? There's there's certain frequencies in your voice that I would like to bring out. That EQ is not going to do that. It's just going to give you a good starting point.
Okay, and I think there's also like a manual DS, like a AI de-esser as well. And I just thought.
Now, I was going to get to those. AI de-essers and gates are fucking awesome. Those are awesome.
Is there one that you recommend?
Sonable makes. I like Sonable stuff. I like Sonable's gate. Sonable's de-esser. Actually, I moved away from Sonobull's de-esser, and I like the auto-tune one. That's a good one. I like that, the auto-tune de-esser, the Antares de-esser. That shit's tight. And then I use Soothe a lot.
But isn't it, oh, Sue, yeah. But isn't it better just to get someone to do it for you rather than messing around, like, looking up?
Honestly, the best way to do it is just go in there and turn the S's down by yourself manually. That's the best way to do it. That way you get to keep them, and they're not getting smacked down.
So with Soothe, like, what do you, because I know you can use Soothe for lots of different things, but like, what do you think like a really good use for Soothe is?
So I use Soothe. A lot of people just use it for like the high end, like the S's and stuff like that. I like to use it on the full spectrum. That's what I like to do. Yeah, I like to use it on a full spectrum just to knock down a couple of the harsh frequencies here and there and stuff like that. That's what I use it for.
Yeah, so that's my question is like, when you do use it on the full spectrum, like what are you trying to, in words, like what are you trying to like achieve with the final sound? Or like do you use it on little bits? Like what do you...
So I use it on my bus. I don't use it on individual tracks. I use it on like my vocal bus. And all I'm trying to achieve to that is get a more constant flow of the vocal, right? Just basically smooth it out. Soothe, smooths. That's pretty much what I get there. Sometimes I'll do like a little bit extra, like if I'm putting it on a bus and I want to add like a telephone effect or like maybe even a reverb. I do crazy stuff to reverbs. I'll be tearing them up. I'll turn Soothe all the way up just so it starts dipping out all type of frequencies, and then I'll blend that into the main vocal.
You know, what's really great about the things you're talking about, Dre, are you understand, at least instinctively, that every genre kind of has its own way of doing things, and you match that genre. You don't just go in and say, well, I do jazz, and so everything's going to sound like jazz.
Yeah, for sure.
You're obviously very intelligent about, well, this should feel that way, and that should feel this way, and so I'm playing with the gear to help it feel right, not just be hard-headed and say, well, we're just, like you said, I'm not just going to turn the treble up just for the hell of it.
Yeah, for sure. And then like you said, everything's feel, bro. I use stuff like we'll take like, for example, the Dynamic 3 compressor, stock Pro Tools, right? We'll turn that thing all the way to 101, right? Ratio to 101 with the fastest attack and the fastest release possible. And then I'll use that to just chop off like frequencies little by little, like the peaks, you feel me, just little by little, just so I can get like a more steady beat, a steady vocal, you feel me, so it sits super tight. I do that a lot of rap vocals.
Nice.
I have one more question.
Yeah,
so
please.
the other thing I want to ask is, so recently when I've been listening to songs on just like Apple Music, there are like, I think there's some new equipment out. I guess this is in studios, like pop studios, where you hear the song and it just sounds a lot more professional. Oh, just for the record, by the way, I want to learn all this stuff, but this is a producer's job. I'm not doing this, okay?
It's good to learn. It's good to know it for sure.
No, but like Ma or someone else can do it, right? Basically, but it's good to know, right? But so my question is that so there's some new equipment. I know people were using Dolby Atmos before, and now they've switched to something else. And I can hear the difference in sound quality. Like you can hear it on the song. Like, so do you agree, or am I just being crazy? Because I can hear the difference. I can hear like when there's songs on there that have been, there's like a Dolby Atmos system, and then there's like the newer system. You can hear the difference.
Yeah, so Dolby Atmos is crazy. The mixes you can do on Dolby Atmos is like movie shit. You feel me? Like putting a song in the Dolby Atmos is wild to me. You know, that's like a whole immersive feel. So like, I mean, I can't necessarily say like, all right. So let's say we're mixing in stereo 5.1 and then Dolby Atmos. I can't necessarily say any of those is better. They just feel different. As far as like plug-in wise and stuff like that, they got some stuff that you can just throw on and it makes your shit just sound good. There's something that Jason Joshua came out with. I swear by this, the God particle. I don't know what that thing does, but damn it, you throw that thing on your master bus and you mix into it, bro. It is awesome. I swear by that thing.
What does it do?
Do you love what you do, Dre?
Yeah, I have no choice. This is I've been doing this since I was 12. I'm 34, so hey. But the God particle, I don't know what it does, right? All I know is as soon as you put it on, it got 4 knobs, right? It got your highs, your mids, your lows, which is an EQ, of course. It has your meter over here where Jason Joshua likes his stuff, you know? But it got this middle knob, and that's the sparkle. That's the juice. When you turn it up, it kind of like it's doing some type of EQ and compression. I don't know if it's parallel. I don't know what it's doing necessarily, but it like opens it up per se, adds more glittery. It's like a glittery effect, I guess. And then when you turn it down, it kind of brings it back in. But it's a dope ass plugin. It's a dope ass plugin. It's called the God particle. Look it up.
Yeah, maybe I think if you ask other people questions, then I'll find the thing that's the other one.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I'll look at it and then I'll ask it because I'm trying to ask about something that I don't. Let me just find it. And I'll ask you about it. I can't find it right now. All the songs I'm looking at is just Dolby Atmos, and I'm like, no, it's not this one. It's another one. It's like, do you know? Maybe you can tell me what it is. It's like a different. Just looking on songs and not. I can't find it. It's like a different system. Or maybe crazy.
Let's see what they got. They got DTS.
I was looking at it because I remember I was listening to some songs and I was like, ooh, this sounds like really good. It's like really professional. And I was like, oh, that's not Dolby Atmos. That's something else. I don't know what the hell this is, but okay, that's cool to know. But I can't find it.
Yeah, all I know is Dolby Atmos is fucking crazy. Man, when I get enough money for a Dolby Atmos system, I'm gonna for sure buy one. For sure.
So is that hardware or just a plug-in?
It's a speaker system. It's a monitor system.
Oh, okay.
It's like, bro, like if you go into these Dolby Atmos rooms, they're made for cinematic audio.
Yeah.
So like, bro, it's speakers on the roof, speakers in the wall, speakers everywhere. I'm like, bro, I can do crazy shit in here.
Hey Dre.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about Young Echo and how that's going?
All right, so at Echo booming right now, right? So he did that song earlier this year with the dude out of Stockton, right? It went crazy, right? It went crazy. Now, mind you, just like what Brad was talking about, so J-Bo, he had a little bit of buzz already in Stockton and in California, right? So it caught the interest of Sony or APG. I forgot who it was, right? But they released the first record, which was the record produced by Echo called Boogeyman, EBK J-Bo Boogeyman. And bro, you can tell the difference between when you put some money into something and when you just put something out. Bro, it's gold. It went gold in like 5 months, 6 months, bro. Right? By next year, they said it should be platinum. So from that, we Echo got a couple pub deals on the table. He just landed a placement with Moneybag Yo, right? Echo out here working, bro. Echo out here doing his thing, bro.
Glad to hear it. All right.
Yeah, Echo doing his thing. He just, him and Sean just got the new spot down there. I gotta go over there tomorrow to help him set up his acoustic panels and stuff like that. But yeah, bro, Echo gonna be the one to do it. You know what I'm saying? If he keep his head on right, which I mean, he's pretty level-headed. You know, his pops and mama don't play that.
That's Echo and Sean F, right?
Friend of your guys,
yeah.
Or
he
friend?
He one of my young producers. He been with me since he was 15. I think Echo's what, 22 now.
It's fun,
yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
pretty cool.
See people you work with go up.
Yep, it's funny because when he got this first deal offered, he was like, bro, like, man, what do you want from blah, blah? I said, hey, bro, that's your deal. I don't want nothing from it. All I want to do, bro, is just see somebody from the city finally do it, bro. And make it all the way. Because, you know, we've had people, you know, platinum plaque here, there, but then after they do that, they just disappear. Like City, I just put a post up about City. Bro, City could have been huge. And then he just stopped, bro. They just stopped. Fucking Draft, bro. The homie Draft. Now, mind you, Draft done found a niche. Draft doing this sync license and stuff. And boy, those checks is different. I'm gonna tell you that. He just had ESPN bought 8 beats from him. And first quarter this year, 2 of his beats got played at like the WNBA championship games or whenever they had it. I was like, oh, that's tight. That's pretty cool. So yeah.
Excuse me just a second, Natasha. I have a question for you because I'm a little confused. So Eventbrite should have the Zoom link on there. It's not there?
No, so usually it's there, but for this one, it said like unavailable.
I'm gonna have to check that because you know that's the way I give the Zoom link to everybody, so that I know who's coming and who's going and all that. You know, if I just put out the Zoom link, it gets a little bit crazy. But you know, it's nice of Ma'at to get in there and tell me. But yeah, I'll contact their customer support or something, and that's just bad news. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had a couple people who couldn't get in through the Eventbrite link, so I had to send them to Zoom.
Yeah, I was 5 minutes early and I missed half of it.
Well, at least we recorded it.
I know, it's fine. So actually, I just found it. So the thing that it was Apple. I don't know if this is there. I need to find it. But basically, what is Apple lossless? Because they see that on the
lossless.
What is that?
Okay, perfect. All right, cool. All right, so I use Tidal, right? That's what I use, and I use Tidal strictly because they offer records at 24-bit, 96K, like studio quality. So when you upload to like Spotify, Apple Music, and stuff like that, the quality of the records gets knocked down. Lossless actually gives you a better feel of what the record sounded like in the studio when they mixed it, they recorded it, and everything like that.
You mean Tidal like Jay-Z's?
Yeah, I use Tidal. For sure.
So what does that do? So it prepares it for Spotify and Apple, like YouTube, or like what it as in why?
So Apple Music, Spotify, and all that. As soon as you upload, they're automatically compressing your whole record, knocking it down, limiting it. It's gonna make it quieter, and then audio qualities. They're at MP3 320, which is like ass. Like and you can do this. Like you can get on YouTube, play a song, and then get on Apple Music, play a song, and then get on Spotify and play the exact same song. They're all going to sound different because they have different standards on their playback and upload. Tidal, they give you the full spectrum of what it's supposed to sound like.
But yeah, because sometimes I listen to songs on Apple Music and some of them, like, I love the song, but the quality of it just is like, bleh. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to this song. It's like the quality is awful. Why does that happen with some songs? I know some of them are recorded like years ago and they don't remaster them, but like I think, like, what I mean for recent songs, some of the quality is like awesome, and then some of them is like, bleh.
So either it was like mixed hella bad, it was a 2-track mix and the 2-track was hella bad, it was recorded shitty, or that's just like when they mixed it, they mixed it super hot. The master's super hot. So Apple, Spotify, any of that, they're limiting them. They're compressing the hell out of them, which like destroys dynamics, destroys quality, just tears it up. So it's got to be one of those.
What does Tidal do then? Like in specific, like what does it?
So Tidal offers different listening platforms, right? So you can listen to regular quality like YouTube or anything else, but then they also offer high quality, which is 16-bit at 44.1, which is, you know, like old school boom bap-ish type sounding, or they offer their max, which is 24-bit at 192, right? So 192 is like fucking ridiculous. So CDs are 44.1, 24-bit, right? That's CD quality. Movies is 48. Tidal lets you hear stuff at like 192, so that's like full like symphony recordings at that high of a quality. So you get like it's a totally different sound. It's only like $11 a month too.
So what? So you hear it before you put it on Apple? Put it.
Yeah. So let's say we did a song in the studio, right? And I did it at 192 24-bit, right? And I mix it in. You're in here, and it's sounding amazing. And you're like, oh shit! As soon as we upload it to Spotify, it's automatically getting knocked down to 44.116. It's getting compressed. It's gonna be just shit. Not necessarily shit, but it's not gonna sound how it sounded to you in the studio. Especially because I mean I got monitor systems and the whole thing going on. But yeah, it's just a quality thing. It knocks it way down.
It's like for the masses, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and then they try to make it to where every song's like the same loudness. Yeah,
that's the loudness war.
That's the loudness war. Yeah, kills dynamics. So if you got a super quiet song, they're gonna turn it up. If you got a super loud EDM song, they're gonna turn it down.
But it was a good time to mention that the next producer will be a mastering producer, engineer. I don't know what they call themselves, but they do the mastering, and so you might have some questions for him about that.
Who's gonna be on?
Mayor.
Oh yeah, I'm watching that. That's my guy. Yeah. Hey, Mayor is so fire, bro. Mayor is so tight.
Yeah, he wants to do really freestyle. I was asking him, so like, how do people get ready for mastering? He says, well, you know, kind of goes back to what you guys are doing in the very beginning. That first thing that you do when you record is it's gonna affect the mastering.
Everything affects that master. Boy, you better give him. Oh man, your mix better be right, because once that limiter get on there, brother. Or you can just be like my guy Dave Pensado and be like, bro, I just mix loud anyway. So hey man, you feel me? You don't need to master it because it's there already. It's loud. It's nice. It's sitting. Hey, and I feel them because sometimes I'll get stuff back from mastering engineers, bro, and I'll be like, hey dog, that's not what I wanted. That wasn't the feel of the record. You fucked me up, man.
Yeah. You gotta like your master, that's for sure.
For sure.
Anything else, anyone?
I was just going to say yes. I think that's one thing that sound better than the track that came before on the Apple players. That's a you problem, not a me problem.
Well, it's good knowledge for all of us. You know, I don't always know what you guys are talking about, but I'm like, okay, I'm learning. One of the reasons I thought about doing these podcasts is I was hanging around with, you know, Ma'at and all his friends for years and, you know, have all these conversations, but other singers weren't getting the same value. I mean, I pass it on to my students, but, you know, I mean, this is like the real thing for you guys. So this is golden.
Speaking of the technical stuff, yesterday in Vegas, Matthew Honda sat there explaining to Olga Nyquist and all kinds of technical stuff, and I'm just sitting there smirking like, this singer is getting the nerdiest of the nerd type stuff. Has like, yeah, I just sat there and just smiled and just like listened to him explaining to the singer crazy technical stuff that we deal with. And the reality is it's an investment into the future. Sooner or later, stuff will come into play, and she'll be able to make judgment calls. Right now, it's a bunch of stuff, but you know, if you just go little by little and doing stuff like this, you pick up stuff over time, and it can help you make a decision, an informed decision, or even just understand people. Period.
And like Corey and Dre have both said, you got to trust your guy. You got to give him some trust. You know, you got to check out who you're working with and why. And then sometimes you just gotta lay back and say, he knows more than I do. Let it go. Because otherwise you get into these ego things, and
you don't trust your engineer and producer, man. You might as well go get you a new engineer and producer. That's like not trusting your manager, bro. What? What? Why is that your manager?
really.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Trusting your accountant.
I
You
definitely,
gotta trust your accountant.
I definitely don't want to be doing all this.
So y'all talking about trust the accountant, the manager, man, trust but verify.
Yeah.
I'm man.
Verification. Yep. Hold on. Verify and then trust.
But see,
Verify. Yeah.
we all make mistakes. I had to Matthew a track. I mean, it's knocking. Like, I mix for loudness. My mixes are loud, and I like the sound. They're just, I don't even necessarily need a master engineer to do anything except double check me, and there might be something, you know. And in this case, there was. The mix was, say, 2 minutes. The song or whatever bounce was 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, and then there's this 5-minute silence.
Oh,
I was rushing out. I was leaving, and I did, and I screwed up. And you can see it when he imported it. It's like 2 to 3 minutes, whatever, of music, and then this 5 minutes, whatever, just silence. It was just silence.
No white noise, no nothing.
Nothing, just silence. So the file was big. You know, I'm like, what is this MP3 so big for? So we all make mistakes. And so, like, even yesterday in the studio when we were working, the way we worked was Matthew and her were working on the arrangement and whatever was needed. They were close, seeing the trees up close. And I sat back and looked at the big picture and stayed disconnected and acted like an audience member. Like, you would hear, if you go back and watch old videos, like, you'd hear Brad talking about a producer. You know, you tell the artist, you get into what you're doing, let me be the audience member, and I'll let you know how I, as an audience member, how it made me feel, how I reacted. And you don't worry about how I'm feeling. Let me take that burden off of you, and you get into what you're doing, and that teamwork works out.
For sure.
Yes, that's great. And what Dre was saying, Natasha or other singers that are watching this right now, if you feel it, we'll feel it. That's concrete. And that's why sometimes Dre's like, why are you asking me? Probably because the singer wasn't feeling anything.
Wasn't feeling it. If you got to ask
hoping
me.
maybe there's something there that you heard that they didn't do, but you know, it's really concrete. If you were sad during those sad words, we're going to hear sad. If you weren't sad, if you were doing your grocery bill or whatever, you know, while you were singing, you know, your mind was wandering or whatever, we're not going to feel anything. You know? And you'll know that.
And so that's another thing, the feeling thing. Like, when you're creating melodies, say you're going to create your melody, your gibberish, and you want this song to be happy. If you actually start thinking about and discussing happy stuff, that actually gives you that feeling, and then you start doing the melodies while you're in that state, it affects it. Like if somebody then walks into the room and they start talking about their grandmother died, and you have that conversation, and next thing you know, you're doing melodies, and you'll have that embedded in your melody, in the feel of it. So yeah, your emotions affect how you feel, flat out affect what's going on. It'd be the same melody, but it's not the same melody at all.
Indeed.
For sure. That's like there's a Future song, right? I forgot what record it is, but they put the auto-tune in the wrong key on purpose for a feeling effect.
Yeah.
To make him sound like this. Like, you know, he rap about drugs and shit, so they put the key wrong to give it that, like, I'm on drugs effect.
Does Dre do that? His people do that? Dre? I'm not Dre. Drake. Sorry, excuse me.
Shit, probably.
Because he sounds stoned to me a lot.
Probably,
he may be. I don't know.
For sure. What's Drake's engineer? What's his name?
40?
No, not 40. The other one. oh, what's his name? It's all black. I forgot his name. He fucking tight though.
Yeah, like Ma'at said, he can do whatever he wants with you. Once you hit that microphone, your world is gone.
Oh man.
Which is why we want to be able to talk to them. Nothing else is self-defense.
For sure.
Like Frank Greenfield was talking about, and Ma'at was talking about martial arts. We're all martial artists. Sometimes we just need to know we're walking down the alley and what to do.
No pedestrian.
I'm sorry, what?
Is that him? Drake's engineer, no pedestrian.
Oh yeah, Gadget. Yeah, he raw. Gadget's dope. You know who else is dope? Young Thug's engineer.
Who is Young Thug's engineer?
His name's like Baines.
Oh, Ains Baines. I'm tripping.
Yeah, Baines.
I knew that. I knew
Baines
that. I'm tripping. Ains Baines.
Baines
Yeah.
is cold. Baines is so cold.
All right, everybody. Well, we've been on the air for about 2.5 hours. So if anybody wants to get off, we can do that now. We think we covered everything. Anybody got any last minute thoughts?
Ooh, I got something to say. The only time you fail is when you quit.
Yeah.
I live by that.
Do you find that, you've just brought up another subject for me, do you find that when a band comes in, you got 5 or 6 people, that the 2 people that are most likely to be upset with the recording session and maybe never ever perform again is the drummer and the singer?
Man, drummer and singer. I'm trying to think who's worse than drummers. Keyboard all right, so keyboard players ain't bad, but they be weird. They be off.
They have a different upbringing.
Yeah, they be different, bro. And then like brass sections, they be pretty cool. They be more, those are like band kids, so they be cool. But yeah, singers always complain.
Well, the poor drummers, the first time they find out that they don't have good time because they can't play the click track.
Can't play the click track, bro. I had a situation. We ain't even gonna talk about it.
Okay. And then the singer, sometimes it's the first time they've ever heard themselves, or the band, sometimes it's the first time they've ever heard the singer because they don't use monitors when they practice and when they perform.
Yep.
And they fire the singer. Or the singer goes, oh my God, I'm tone deaf. It's just too bad. I mean, I've learned these things actually as a coach, not as a singer. I saw these things happening as a coach. I didn't know they were going on. I'm very embarrassed about all the years I performed without being able to hear myself. I'm very...
I wouldn't even try. Now, I can help you in the studio, right? I can be, no, that's it right there. But you want me to do it? This ain't built for that.
We'll just get AI to do it, and then all our problems are over with.
For sure. Done. Type, submit, 30 seconds, boom, hit record. Let's go.
Well, it's going to be the new karaoke toy. I can just see it. They're already on Instagram. They got some kid sitting in a chair, and he's listening back, and he's going, oh my God, and of course he's saying in there, it's a very bad singer, and this great singer came out, and so he's like, oh yeah, I'm great, I was like, well, it's a great toy, but come on.
That's kind of cool. I might buy that. I might buy that just so I can act like I can see. I'm gonna go to River Park out here and sit on the corner and anyway.
Well, there's somebody probably, bidding for Elvis's rights and the Beatles' rights and whoever, to use their voices. Yeah.
That's gonna be some. They're gonna be able to get labels. Gonna get money off of that when they figure that out. Ooh.
It's new income for them. So.
Yep, new income. Why not? Ooh, I didn't even think about that, Brad. You just opened my mind to a whole different thing.
Well, I know they played a recording of, they did an AI version of a Nirvana song. I mean, the lead vocal and everything. And it's like, okay, you know, that was very cute, but if now what I want to do is go put it on a Nirvana record. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very impressed with what it did, but you know, I really want to hear Nirvana if it comes down to that. So that's going to be very interesting. I'm trying to be open to whatever happens.
It's gonna be real interesting. Yeah. Real interesting. You pay a fee to be able to use somebody else's voice.
Well, there's a big lawsuit over an actress that they used without her permission, and now there's a big lawsuit going on over that.
That's usually how it starts, with a lawsuit, and then they come up with an idea on how to make it so they can make some monies.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly side to that. The labels are into AI. They are working. They want to make money. They're going to turn everything into them making money.
Yep.
Artists, instead of being afraid of AI, they need to get creative and figure out a way where they can utilize it, and or beat it.
Beat it. Yeah. Creativity is always the master.
You know, get to where you get your audience and you make your money no matter what the reality is. You got to battle. You got to, you know, you don't punk out. You battle.
So guess what Stevie Cali been doing? He been using AI to demo records for bigger artists. He just sent me a T.Y. $ demo using the T.Y. $ AI on his voice. And I said, bro, I should send this to Fire right now and see if Ty want it. Just because I already hear him on the record. You know what I'm saying? That's good stuff right there.
So even that right there. So if you listen to Pharrell, when he was talking about, he did songs for Michael Jackson didn't want them. And then it went to Justin Timberlake. So if you do a record in somebody's voice, whatever, and then you can go and have some other singer sing it, and it will have that feel, but it's not Michael Jackson or whoever. It's the same type of thing. So you start using things creatively.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't want to be a worker bee.
Nope.
That's you know, the music industry's been suffering from this for almost a century now. You know, symphony players got put out of work a long time ago by the rock bands. You know, 4-piece rock bands instead of 50-piece orchestras. You know, it's a lot easier to record a rock band. You know, doing your own background vocals. We don't have to hire a background vocal because the lead singer can do them all. You know, MIDI keyboards and, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's just like almost all the background music you hear in movies is done by a guy sitting at a keyboard, you know, using samplers instead of 50 people. So
I'm one of them guys.
Yeah. So you got to stay ahead. You know, Ma'at's right on it. Creativity, and more creativity. Don't be afraid. You know, you've got something to say. You're the only one in the world who has to say it. So go for it. Like he said, don't quit.
There's a saying where we say, don't meet your idols. So you might meet your idol and let's just say be mad, say to hell with them, that type of thing. Well, if AI starts being the competition, which it is, and AI is programmed, say they have the AI artists, like we used to listen to the Chipmunks. The Chipmunks sold albums. They're not real, but they sold albums and we like them. So if your idols are being jerks or whatever, and they're allowed to because they're so special, this can make your idols start acting right. There might be a change where you meet your idols and all of a sudden you leave and it's like, you should meet your idols because they no longer have the option to act stupid and just be rude or whatever. Like,
because for the low price of $19.99, I can get a verse from you from this AI app.
Well, you've got people marrying, like, what's the robots, like, there's all kinds of humans will do all kinds of stuff.
Hey man, the world is crazy. It's interesting, bro.
Yeah, humans will replace you if you're not going to act right.
For sure.
So if AI gives them that feel and you won't, you know.
AI it is. Like I said, for $19.99 a month.
Yeah, and when people press play, they people are not sitting there. This is AI. I don't love it. If something comes on and it moves somebody and makes them think about their grandmother or their child or just makes them dance, they want to be moved. They don't care. So you better get to where you do your thing.
the proof is already been happened. The Kendrick and Drake beef, nobody knew if it was AI or not. They was just like, hey, this is what it is. Let's go. I don't know if it's AI. I don't know if it's real. No, that's AI. No, it's not. It's real. Oh, that's, oh shit. Hey,
you've got CGI that's been doing stuff for years where you're watching a movie and that stuff's not real. The background, like
all fake.
The stuff has been around. It's already a done deal. It's known that you can do a whole movie and very little is actually real, you know. And
I remember I was watching a sci-fi program that was bragging about that. We're the first sci-fi program where everything in the background is not real. Yeah. It was kind of like multi-tracking, you know. You can layer stuff.
Bro,
you put
Avatar
somebody anywhere you want, you know.
The movie Avatar is hell CGI. The whole fucking movie.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's fire.
So there's Star Wars stuff on Disney. We were again at Matthew Honda. He pulls up this video, and these people are talking in this crappy room. You see the actors talking in this crappy room, and then they do the screen thing, and all of a sudden you see the scene from Star Trek, and it's just flawless. They're in the scene. All they did was it's just like this. If my background was a change, and now here's somebody here, and I'm fighting them or whatever. It just, you could not tell. I watching Star Wars on Disney. Do not care. I'm into it. You know, they save a lot of money. But what then happens is, like, for video. So say, Natasha, it may have cost you, say, $40,000 to get a video done. Now it might cost you $100. And you get this crazy video where you get to do a presentation. Do you sit and complain about AI, or do you start using it and get on it immediately, like the AI video, and make it to where you're utilizing it and you look like $1 million in your videos?
It's just like when the home studio came out.
Oh yeah, and computers in general.
What?
Computers in general.
Yeah.
You know, for a long time people resisted. Oh, I'm not going to use one of those things.
Well, now we got these bad boys.
Yep.
We all fight the innovations, but like we were having discussions a long time ago about recording through plugins, and people were talking negative like crazy. And I'm sitting there like, whatever. And we're having these discussions. And now
they was literally calling us crazy.
And yeah, now you got all these companies doing that stuff. It's all of them. Yeah. So you can fight it, or you can innovate, get creative, use your creativity in these places, and kick everybody's butt.
And the thing about recording through plugins is, bro, y'all been doing it for years just with gear. It's just new, so y'all fight it. That's all it is. It's the same shit. Vocal, compressor, EQ, preamp, it's the board. Those are the Pro Tools. All we did was vocal, make a record track, pre, EQ, the same shit, just digital.
That was something I actually wanted to ask. It's been on my mind for the past month. So, like, with the AI thing, so I don't have to use it, like, to, making songs like melodies and stuff, but it obviously is I'm talking about songwriting, not like using it for, producing production and stuff. But essentially, what are the rules? And I know you guys are really, like, use it for innovation, but are there still a lot of people in the industry that, like, frown on it? Because I'm new, right? So I'm new in the industry, and I don't want to do something I'm not supposed to do, but don't need to. But then, like, is that gonna, if I do use it, then you're like, well, is that gonna be a penalty? Like, there's rules. Like, Mark sent me this homework to do, and it was like literally printed from the Grammy board, and like you go on that and there's the rules, and on it says clearly, like, there's like, it's written vaguely on purpose, the rules about AI, like, because they know people are going to use it, right? But it's like, are you going to get penalized if you use it, or is it okay to use it?
I'm gonna tell you like this.
Well, like, can I use it or not? Basically.
Man, the only rule is ain't no rules. Damn it! If right now the Grammys is saying if you use AI, blah blah blah, whatever the hell, you can't get a Grammy. Like, that shit gonna change as soon as somebody do something with AI that's so amazing they gonna have to do nothing but accept it. That's all you got to do.
So what it reads is, like, because I like read every little tiny little minutiae detail. So on it actually says, use it, but make sure the majority of your song does not use it. So like, use it to help you. So the way I interpret that is maybe use it for inspiration, like, you know, you can hear a song like it's bird singing outside and you're like, oh, that's a cool melody, like use it for that, but don't have it produce the thing.
And like I said, man, the only rule is no rules. At the at the 70th Grammy award ceremony, they're gonna have an award for best AI generated song.
So
I was about Dre.
Are you saying that there's a risk that you're maybe using somebody else's artistry or something? Or?
Well, so first of all, like, you want to stick to. I always stick to it. Like, I don't like. It's like I'd love to use it, but if I'm not allowed to use it, I won't use it. That's my thing. I don't want to cheat. Okay, there's that. But then also, I know that Suno and some of these companies have been in there's like lawsuits against them. So I think the three, like Warner, Sony, and another one, they're all basically getting together. Because I have friends who literally have created AI models for like, they're like, you know, amazing geek guys and like amazing, right? So, and they literally made their own versions of like Bono or whatever, like, you know. So basically, apparently what's happening at the moment is that there's these three labels that are suing, I think so now, I don't know if it's that one too, because so when you have like AI, right, like I'm just gonna, you know, but I'm explaining it for anyone who listens to it. So you have to program it. So essentially it's like a robot, right? So it's like a dog, like you train a dog to sit, walk, get up, smile, whatever. Right? So in order for you to be able to do that, to get a computer to do that and not a human, you have to give it inputs. So the inputs have to come from somewhere. So what these labels are arguing is that, well, hold on a second, you're actually training this thing on our songs. So you're like, okay, fine, I want it to do a pop thing, but hold on a second, you're training it on Britney, Christina, like those are our songs. So there's like lawsuits happening right now where they're like, oh no. So I have a friend in Boston, and he's created this thing, but it's like he's made this model where it's actually, he created his own input, so he couldn't get sued, right? So like, this is a genius, right? But so he kind of got around it. I used it a little bit when he was in London, but it was like just playing around. But it's not amazing. It's literally, it's like but for my intent and purposes, if you're just going to use it for inspiration, it's fine, right? So that's the question, is like, let's say you are going to a label, let's say whatever your destination is, like, are you going to get screwed because you used it?
Man, if you go into a label and they want it, they will take it. They will pay for it. They only on Suno ass right now because they just trying to figure out how they can capitalize and get paid. That's all it is. But I'm gonna tell you like this. Like I said, the only rule is there ain't no rules. If you want to use AI, do that shit. You feel me? Use it for whatever the hell you want. I for sure will. It's kind of like when like the websites like Splice or Arcade and all this stuff came out. People frown upon all that stuff because it's loops. It's just a tool. I'm gonna use it. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, having played with it, like, I actually don't like it making the thing. I just like it to like listen. Oh, that was cool that it did. That's an idea. But like, I have quite a strong like download in my head of what I want things to sound like, and it's like really precise. So I go by that. But it's still really helpful, and it's helpful for like people who are, you know, new and they're starting out, and like I'm all about like helping young whatever. So it's like it's really helpful for people. So yeah, like Matt was saying something.
So you heard us say that the labels are using AI, right? And they're coming out with their own versions of AI. So they might, if they own say Destiny's Child and Beyonce and all that, if they own that stuff, they want the rights to all of that stuff. Now, whatever the lawsuits are, whatever, the companies are going to keep doing whatever they need to do, which might be like they're singers who are not part of the industry. They could go to churches and wherever and pay people to sing and model them and come up with a whole plethora of stuff that's not the old. You've got bands that are dope that they could get with and use that stuff. So it's now, if the Grammys says you are not allowed to sing R&B, would you stop? Like, to hell with them. Like, not everything is for the Grammys. And the Grammys are going to adjust as time goes on. This stuff is all in flux. Things are being figured out. But so whatever some of us, we couldn't care less what the Grammys say, like hip hop. They didn't even recognize hip hop. We didn't care. We do what we're going to do. Sampling was a problem. Next thing you know, hip hop and sampling or whatever is a major part of whatever. If you're going for a Grammy and they have their rules, you might not get the Grammy. But did you move your audience?
Well, the guy that runs the Grammy TV shows, he even said, we can't always follow the Grammy rules when we put this together. We got to sell the show.
Yeah.
So we may have somebody on here maybe you don't think is Grammy worthy, but they're going to be on anyway because we got to sell the show. Yeah.
So all right. So Natasha, say you're singing and you want background vocals and you don't want it to be you. You can use background vocals. You can have AI create background vocals. With Suno, you can record your own voice, have it end up doing background vocals, and it's your voice.
Yeah.
And then you put it into this thing, or turn it into a dude's voice using your inflections, but it's a dude's voice.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm quite vanilla, so I just get some.
I'm just saying the ability of creativity, if Dre was to come in and I record Dre's voice and get a model of his voice and then have him in the background singing, hey baby, what's cracking.
I'm about to drop that. I'm shooting the video tomorrow.
You and Wolfman Jack. I don't know if you even know who he is, but your voice sounds a lot like Wolfman Jack.
I think it comes from going back to the doing exams as a kid. It's like, you don't cheat, you do everything properly. Yeah. You're a star. Don't make a mistake. So that's just still ingrained in my head. I actually have. Can I ask Dre some a geek question, because I pulled up the equipment research thing I did. So okay, so I found the EQ. It's called Surfer EQ. Have you heard of it?
I haven't seen that one.
So it's called Surfer. It's by Thoman, Thoman. So Mark, have you used that? Is it good?
Your mic's off. There you go.
I started using stock plugins and stock plugins only about 10 years ago. And DreDeMost and everybody was using, I had a Waves account and I quit using it. I was on stock. So I know about Surfer EQ. I remember Surfer EQ. It came out and it was dope. No.
Okay.
And I know how to use great plugins, but I've been using a bunch of stock plugins.
And then the other thing I want to ask is in terms of reverb. So I always do, like I said, I always do all the courses whenever anyone, any artist, I'm do it in a day. And everybody's using this reverb called Valaha Vintage Verb.
Oh, those are fire. Those are fire. You know what else is a good reverb? So there's a plugin called Xbox, right? And it got 4 different modules. It got a compression module, an EQ module, a reverb delay module, and then an effects module. That reverb module, that shit fire, right? It's super simple to use, but I like it because it has a built-in side chain. So you can get those reverb throws like crazy and stuff like that. It's dope as hell. I've been using it a lot.
So let me talk about this just a little bit. Reverb for singers and why it's important. You notice I have it on my mic. And I could be dry like everybody else, but I want to hear myself the way I sound in a natural room. And my room in here is pretty dead, so I got everything sucking up. But when they invented the dead room and they put singers in there was no reverb in there, and they freaked out. It's oh, we can't put this out. So somebody had to invent something. So they actually created an echo chamber. They put a speaker in there and a mic, and then they mix it. So reverb is putting back what should be there in the first place.
For sure.
Now, you can use it beyond that, but don't ever be afraid to use it or think it's an effect. It's something that you should be used to hearing yourself. You should record with it. You should practice with it. You should make sure that you're using it every time you get a chance, because when you hear a singer you love on the radio, they're using reverb. And then you hear yourself and you don't sound like them, like the idol thing, kind of what Mama says, be careful to meet your idols. But, you say, oh, I don't sound very good, but it's just because you're not using those effects. You got to use something to bring your own mind into feeling like you sound like a good singer. You need effects for that. You can't do it with a dry room. That's all I want to say.
I have another question. So, sorry, another geeky one. So the preamp that I don't know, I've just got it in my head. I want to try it because somebody used it and now I'm on a train and nobody can get me off the train. But it's, I'm just like, I want that. So I want that with no clue about what it is. But so basically there's this preamp called, it's like the Chandler Limited TGI, and they have it at Abbey Studios. Is that worth me being obsessed about it, or and there's no simulation for it, but is it
So I got one of those right now, man. Chandler Abbey Road TG2, man. That's my favorite one of my favorite pre's. I put it on everything. I love it. It's awesome.
What does it do? Because I've not used it. I'm just obsessing about it.
It adds different tones and saturation. So a preamp just technically amplifies your mic signal, if that makes sense. Right? But the Chandler, it has a couple different things you can do with it. It adds a certain tone to your vocal. It's fire. I love it. People like 1073s and all that regular stuff. I'm a TG2 guy.
So Natasha, on these tools, it's not just the having the tools. You'll get a tool and you might get the Valhalla. You might get it, just put it on the way it is stock set by default, turn it up and say, "Ooh, I like that." But and so it might make your life easier, but it gives you a certain result automatically. But the real deal is to learn what to do with the tools, where you can take a tool and really use it. So you can do a lot with reverb. It's not just one thing. That Valhalla, you might use it as a smeared delay, or you might pan your vocal left and the reverb right. You might use it to place yourself in space. You can have something forward and might use it to push your thing back in space. There's a feel you can create with it by, say, brightening it or darkening it. You might darken the reverb real dark, and so when it's heard, say you want somebody to sound like they're in a bathroom or 200 feet away, there's things you can do with the reverb to help manipulate the sound and the feeling. It's not just, oh, this reverb is good. That when I said I'm not using stock plugins, it makes me work harder, and I can do stuff with stock plugins that create these spaces and feels. But some of these tools, like the Valhalla, you might get it and not have to do all that work. You just get it, pull it up. Oh, that's nice, and move on. But even with that, there's other elements in the mix that you might want to have contrast with that. It's a knowing what you do type thing, knowing how to use the tool.
What do you mean by stock plugins? Sorry, I don't know.
Stuff, whatever program you have, there's stuff that comes with it built in. Yeah. But and then this is all Valhalla is some extra stuff that's dope.
Yeah, Valhalla's tight. Like Mott said, it's not just it's just a plug. You know what I'm saying? It's what it does, right? When you really learn what the Valhalla, the shit you can do with the Valhalla reverb and how it sounds, that shit raw. Just
they have all sorts of stuff. So is
they
it
have all type of shit? They all sound different.
Yeah. But in my head, if I'm obviously a producer would be doing this, but in my head, you would use things to serve the song. So not necessarily that, if you want it, but I think I quite like a vintagey little sound anyway. So, I'm gonna egg towards that in I want it to sound like that. But I think we should just, I would hope the producer was just using things serve the song, and these are just like a toolbox ideas. And then, sorry, I have another geek question. So for panning, you guys are like, oh my God. So with panning, I was like doing some research a while ago about like where you should pan things. So so I'm just going to tell you what like I found, and then you can tell me if, like, your 2-bit. So apparently when you're panning, like the things that should go in the center are vocals, your kick, your bass, your snare. And then 100% left is like guitars, pads, hats, and other things. And then like 50% left and right are like acoustic guitars and percussion. So is that like a hard and fast rule, or is that up for like?
That's like just gaining basic knowledge of where stuff technically goes. But go listen to like Phil Collins, Feel Me in the Air. Go listen to some Kanye or something like that. It's about the record. It's always about the record and what feels right 100% of the time. Go listen to just like Disturbed or anything like that on how they pan their stuff. Like, shit be crazy, right? Me, like if I'm going for that type of feel, like if I'm doing like a rock record and they got live drums, right, and I want it to sound like how it would sound like if I was standing in front of the drums, then I'll pan that way. But if I'm doing some hip hop stuff or some pop stuff, some EDM, I'm doing whatever the hell I want, and I'm making shit bounce from here to there. It's like I said, that's like a starter suggestion type thing. But getting more into the creative aspect of shit, the only rule is there ain't no rules.
Yeah, you remind me of the metaphor of a chef. Chef doesn't necessarily know how much salt he puts in it, but he knows whether he likes it or not. If he doesn't like it, he ain't going to use it.
Now, let's say you're listening to Motown 1962, some songs, and you're doing the technique that they say, and you're like, I can't get that. You won't, because the whole drum set might be here. The vocalist, let's say that the vocalist is here and the drums and are over here. Like it's a different thing that they're doing. So what are you trying to achieve? Like in today's thing, the bass and kick might be up the middle. And I remember somebody was telling me you have to have it just dead center, when actually I was creating separation with my bass and kick by bass a little bit this way, kick a little bit this way. And, you know, like even with vocalists, if I have 3 vocalists singing, I might have one here, and one here. It's really middle-ish, but they're very close to center, but off. And if you're in your car, you can feel them, you know, doing a little thing.
If you go in your car and you play some old Motown stuff, right, and you go to your radio settings and you pan hard left, you're gonna be surprised on what's over there. You pan hard right, you're gonna be surprised, like, oh, the drums is really just over here. Ain't shit over here. Oh, this is crazy. Well, we do it all the time when we driving like to these tours and stuff. We'll put on old records and just pan stuff and be like, oh shit, they did. But they, you know, they had a certain thing that they were doing in a certain way they had to do shit, and you know they had to make it work. And that's shit's tight.
The Beatles for a while. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
The Beatles for a while put all the music on the left channel and all the vocals on the right. And you could literally create your own karaoke.
Yep.
Just turn the balance all the way to the stereo, and you got the Beatles band with no vocals.
So like say one of your speakers goes out, right? You'd get one big education. You'd be like, what happened? Or like we'd have speakers, and one speaker in one room, another speaker in another room. And you'd be like, whoa, you come here and hear this mix over here, you'd hear this. And not these mixes are not all the same. There's a time period that, like, there was a time when all you had was hard left, hard right, or center that you could pan. And so either something was over there, or here. And if you wanted it in both, you'd either record it on both channels, or you send a delayed signal. You send a copy of it to that through an effects unit or whatever method you chose. But there's the contemporary sound that you're going for of today. That is a certain type of thing.
Everything mono.
Yeah. Everything was mono at one time. So if you want that, if you're listening to a certain sound, say Old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra, at a certain time period, that record that you're listening to might be, let's say that there was a mono whatever, and you're over here doing stereo, following their rules, and I never can get it like Frank. Well, if Frank's stuff was mono, you're not going to get that sound and feel. And so for me, say I'm starting the record off and I wanted to have that Motown feel and then come into today. I would do the Motown panning and what they were doing, and it would start off with that feel, and then the moment comes and boom, bass up the middle, kick up the middle. You know, we're doing that type of thing, you know.
Well, they used to try to give you the image of this live stage, because so the guitar player was on the left side, keyboard player on the right side, drum in the middle, and the bass, you know, even the bass could be off to the side, you know, because they want that live stage sound. But now they just want power, you know, so they put the bass in the center to give you boom, boom, boom. And then stereo also has an effect on a mono signal. If you put a mono signal in and split it changes the quality of the sound, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So they're doing a lot of stereo stuff that actually was a mono in the first place.
I have stuff where I was making beats with my drum machine back in the day, 1990s. I had the 909 kick panned hard right, the 808 kick panned hard left. And the 808 wasn't going boom. It was short-ish, like the 909, not the same length or whatever, but it wasn't just, you know, boom. But what I noticed happened was it just sounded like a fuller sound. I would put it in mono and make sure it was, you know, I'd set it how I wanted it to where it would be in mono, take it out, and then I'd start mixing. And it was a feel. Anybody would tell you, don't do no craziness like that. Man, I'm hip hop. We do what we want to do.
I'm doing crazy
and
shit.
I loved it. And people were always, how do you get that sound? Yeah, you'll never get it because I'm doing some stuff that people would say don't do. But in hip hop, it's Wild Wild West. We go for what we want the result to be. When it goes into a club, the club dude might be like, hey man, what if he even, you know, if whatever, or no, some record label might say, hey, this won't fit in the club. Actually, I was going and testing stuff in clubs and seeing what happens, because in the club, the speakers might be mono, and so it was summit to mono, but I've already done a mono check in there. I made it part of my thing. But either way it goes, I'm going to do what I want to do. And if I end up having to do a club mix, do a club mix.
The leaders are always the rule breakers.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I don't listen to shit.
You do what you want, you make it feel the way you want, and then if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. There's not a whole lot you can do about that.
You might do something, Natasha, that breaks all the rules, and it sounds refreshing to us. And if it starts selling, everybody's going to be like, that's it. I want that sound.
I want that sound. Yep.
Now they're on your train.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's how it works.
I've already said like I want pop with rock and R&B, but like I've listened to pop my whole life, so like my ears are like trained to and I want it to sound very pop, but in non-boring way. So like I already know what I want it to sound like. That's the good part, but it's just getting the sound that. But obviously, like you guys are super talented, so it's, you know, I'm not freaking out about that, because it's like we'll get there. I have another question. Sorry, I'm asking all the geek questions. Ryan,
Somebody's got to.
Well, it's just because I do a lot of like geeking out, and then it's like it's just in my head. So you guys know what you're talking about. So it's good to like ask. So Ryan Tedder uses this drum thing called battery. Like, is that what is that?
Battery is just it's a VST plugin. It's made by Native Instruments.
So
it's pretty cool.
Okay.
A sample, right?
Yeah, it's a sampler. It's cool.
And then in terms of like synths, so obviously, I mean, I don't know a lot about synths, but in your opinion, is it good enough to use like Omnisphere and stuff like that? Or is it good?
Battery is dope. Like, I know people who use the fuck out of battery. I know people that use the homie Draft. He been on FL Studio before FL Studio was popular. Draft been using FL when people still had chords and motifs and stuff, and people used to make fun of bruh all the time when he pulled out his laptop and pulled up FL Studio. But if you listen to a Draft beat from back then, you'll be like, holy shit. And now FL like one of the most famous dogs for hip hop production, period. But Draft been using that since like FL 2 or 3. So it's just a tool. You get what I'm saying? I don't think there's no bad VSTs. I don't think there's no bad plugins. I don't think there's bad nothing. It's just how you use it.
Yeah, I think Circuit was using FL Studio. Like he likes to use that as well.
Okay, so Circuit, Ryan Tedder. Let's say they're both using Battery and they don't use Omnisphere at all. So what?
No, I know, but
hold on, hear me out. No, I'm saying so what?
That was rhetorical.
Yeah. What I'm getting to is those guys are dope. If they ended up on Omnisphere, they'd make Omnisphere talk.
Oh, yeah.
Battery is dope. Omnisphere, that's dope. There's a bunch of dope tools out there. But it comes down to you have a Steinway piano, and I sit down and I start playing it. And then Stevie Wonder sits down and starts playing it. And then a concert pianist from Juilliard sits down and starts playing it. It's the person using the tools. And then you've got so-called crappy tools that say Teddy Riley, if he started using these non-high quality crappy tools and he starts putting his soul and feel into it, we'll be jamming to that Teddy Riley stuff. And jamming. Like Pharrell, when Pharrell started beating on trash cans and using that in his songs, like Happy or whatever, that's not a Korg or any of this stuff. So back in the day, there was this, they had ogres. What's not Lord of the Rings, with the Shire, the stuff with the Shire, the movies with the guys with the little people with the big feet. Come on, you guys.
Lord, I know Lord of the Rings.
It was maybe. Wait, you know what? The Hobbit. It was Lord of the Hobbit. The Hobbit. So the Hobbit. There's a cartoon right now, The Hobbit. If you go watch the cartoon, it's crappy. So it has a feel. And then if you go watch Ricky Tikki Tavi, that thing is still entertaining. There's emotional payoff, and it's not this high quality stuff. So the tools have a thing, and there's character and color and whatever, but really it's you and what comes out of you and your use of the tools. But Omnisphere, Native Instruments, East, West, all that stuff. There's some, good tools.
They got some good stuff. Like Ma'at said, man, it's all about what you do with the tool, man. I use a lot of shit that people don't use. I don't care. I make it sound fire. When it comes to mixing, I do a lot of shit that people don't do. But guess what? You're going to pay for this mix. You're going to come back.
Dre's either a man for you or he's not. Yeah, we all have to deal with that. Everybody can say, well, I'm number one. I'm the number one. Well, you may be the number one, but that doesn't mean everybody uses you.
At all.
Bro,
I'll mix a record with somebody, right? And I'll be like, yeah, and I did my shit. And then the homie will mix a record for somebody. I may be like, damn, bro, your lead vocal kind of fucked off. The client might like the fucked off lead vocal. Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
The first time I heard distortion on a lead vocal microphone, I thought, engineers are always saying, no distortion on the mic. No. Now they're using it as an effect.
But all the way turned up. Distort everything.
Yeah. So be open. I think that's the motif here, or the principle.
The only rule is there ain't no rules.
Make us feel and experience something, whatever tool. That mic that you pulled out, I've got we're in Guitar Center. I'm doing this training, right? And I have this beat up. It's just kick snare, and we pull out an AT2020 USB microphone, $100, and it's a guy named Garrett. He's rapping. When I was done, there's an audience in the back, and there's noise, crowd noise, whatever, and he's rapping into this microphone. When I press play, with the way that I mixed and did all that, it's kick, snare, vocal. That does not sound like a $100 microphone. Any issue that was there, I'm going for the feel that I want, and I did whatever was necessary to make it feel and sound like what I want. And when I tell people that that's $100, that USB microphone, you're lying. Really, bro. So if we bet some money right now, and I get and see, I'm hip hop. It's like we bet some money right now, and I get this microphone and start doing it right now. You saying I'm not gonna get them results?
I'm gonna tell you like this, man. That AT2020, one of my favorite microphones till this day, man. $100.
I ain't never gonna bet against either one of you.
So part of it is I had him, instead of rapping into the microphone, because I wanted him close to like get his vocal loud compared to that stuff without him yelling. But then I had him, it was like this. It was pointed at him, and he's rapping like this, and it's pointing at him off to the side. All the air is going like this, so he can and do whatever, but that sound pressure of moving air is not hitting the mic. And he's like this. He's rapping. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the playground. But the mic's like this, so it's pointing at the gazelle, but it's not in the Anyway,
cheap limiter.
Yeah, man.
You ain't gonna make me distort because I'm not gonna put you in front of me.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
You got
guys,
a whole bunch of cool stuff doing different techniques like that.
yeah.
We come from the land of I got Windows XP with 4 gigs of RAM and no plugins.
Yeah.
Watch that movie Compton, right?
Man.
There you go.
You make it what you make it. Don't worry too much about everything else. But so we're gonna call it, guys. It's been great though. I mean, I learned so much just hanging out with y'all, and I hope everybody else is learning a lot too. So, and I'll see you later in September, Ma'at. I hope you join us, Dre, for that.
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna hop on my stuff too.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. It actually adds kind of a to have more than one of you on here adds a whole new flavor to it, and just me and one producer. And I hope you all get a lot out of this.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
And Natasha, we appreciate you joining us from London. I take that to heart because we know the time difference is a big deal.
You like 10 hours ahead?
Today was like I'm like on buzzing because I'm a geek, right? So like I'm just actually buzzing that that Dre has a Chandler Limited TJ2. I was like,
I love it.
Like studios in London, and you're like, hello, and they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like you're asking them for a cat with 3 heads, and you're like, you're a producer. Like I'm a beginner. Like, why do you have it? So I think it's amazing that you have it because it's not that many. Like it's quite hard to get hold.
People don't really use them. I don't know why. I love it. Like, but most people just go on hype whatever somebody say. Like, you all right? So Newman U87, right? Everybody, oh, I love it. I hate that microphone.
I don't like the SM58. I've never liked the SM58.
It's just I don't know. It's just preference. That's all it is. But TG2, man, that's one of my preferences. I'll take a TG2 over 1073 every day. Chandler, Abbey Road, y'all should sponsor Dre. Let's go. Send me more gear.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you so much, and we'll see you on YouTube.
Yep.
Good afternoon, everybody. Bye-bye.